Recently, unusual natural disasters like volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, lightning, and floods have been occurring continuously around the world. In a city in China, a volcano suddenly erupted violently, causing the temperature throughout the city to rise to suffocating levels. Tens of thousands of residents, realizing the impending danger, immediately packed their belongings and moved to other cities seeking safety. Inside a moving bus, the atmosphere was very noisy. Everyone was actively discussing the strange events that had been happening lately. A young man couldn't hold back his emotions and swore, "Damn it! A few days ago there was an earthquake under the sea, then Mount Fuji erupted, killing hundreds of thousands of people. Didn't expect that today even we have to evacuate." A fiery-looking girl sitting next to him after checking her luggage anxiously said, "This is bad. We left in such a rush I didn't bring anything, probably have to go to Jiangnan City to buy some supplies." The guy by the window, who was engrossed in watching the devastated scenery outside, suddenly turned around and asked the beautiful girl, "Have you checked the news yet? All the stock in Ali Oima warehouse in Jiangnan City has been cleared out." Hearing this, the girl's eyes widened in shock as she exclaimed, "What? No way, the supplies there must be worth hundreds of billions." The young man sitting opposite also cut in with a warning tone. "That's old news. Today, the warehouse in Shenzhen run by Hu Dongming has run dry, and the stock of Dai Rundong has also been moved out." Suddenly, a cold voice from the back seat decisively refuted all previous information. "It's not just hundreds of billions, it's tens of thousands of billions worth of supplies that have disappeared. These natural disasters are clear signs. Open your eyes and look, the apocalypse is coming." The one who spoke was our main character, Than. Hearing Than say such terrifying words, the girl and the two young men in front couldn't help but burst out laughing, thinking he was just joking. "No way apocalypse, are you kidding? If it really is the apocalypse, I'd actually be a little hopeful. That would be the time when all beings are equal." Hearing that, Than felt quietly annoyed inside, thinking, equal beings even on the apocalypse day doesn't mean there's any real equality, because he was someone who had directly experienced the apocalypse. Memories from his past life slowly flooded Than's mind, recalling terrifying scenes that few could believe could happen at present. "In his past life, I was just an ordinary food delivery worker until the apocalypse happened, due to abnormal solar energy emissions, which affected the Earth's core, causing rapid instability, global temperatures soaring the Earth's crust, violently shifting, and monsters hiding deep underground, gradually surfacing. The entire world changed, and a new order was established. In that new world, supplies became extremely scarce. Even a pack of noodles or a sausage was so precious, it was worth risking your life to get." Than continued calmly, "Bro, have you ever felt a sausage was hard to chew?" And then he affirmed, "Because I'm the one who came back to life from the apocalypse, returning to 1 month before it happened." The busty girl beside him, hearing those horrifying words, couldn't hide her panic, and immediately grabbed Than's hand. "Brother," then pressed her hot body close to him, voice trembling. "What you just said scared me a little. Can you?" But the present. Than, who had just returned from the future's hell, was no longer easily swayed like before. He immediately pushed her hand away, making the girl feel rejected. "Sorry, I have more important things to do." After getting off the bus at the next stop, Than quickly went to his old workplace, the warehouse of Mr. Hippo. Standing in front of the large warehouse, Than looked up with determined eyes and repeated in a low voice, "The apocalypse is coming. So what is the most important thing?" But he answered himself, of course it's supplies. In his past life, he wasted too much time just searching for supplies and died miserably in the end, but this life he wouldn't let that happen again. Than, stepped inside the warehouse where I worked loading goods every day. Just as I reached the store, the grumpy manager was already waiting, late by 21 seconds, half a day's salary deducted. I pretended to scratch my head awkwardly, sorry, then quickly entered the warehouse. Walking in, Than's eyes scanned the space filled with supplies, his heart flooded with memories of the apocalypse in his past life. The boss was the first to run away, losing a year's salary. These supplies were considered compensation. Than hurried inside the warehouse, checking quantities while preparing to activate the special ability I gained after reincarnation. He stood straight, raised his hand forward, and slowly gave the order. The space opened up. Immediately, a strange spatial gate opened before him. A system notification appeared, detected rice cooking oil and meat being automatically absorbed. Tuthan's spatial system was truly powerful. As soon as it was activated, it instantly sucked all nearby supplies inside, leaving nothing behind. Tuthan stepped into his private space, a three-dimensional area stretching wide and tall up to 10,000 square meters. He looked around, his eyes shining brightly, his face excited as if he had just regained his life. This is my ability, a spatial anomaly. As soon as I open it, everything around will be sucked into this space, he whispered to himself. With this power, I can collect all the resources in a city about to be destroyed. Using this space, I once drained 2 lakes, took everything from supermarkets, wholesale markets, and warehouses in the apocalypse. Even a pack of noodles is a luxury, let alone fresh food. The special thing is that time inside this space is completely frozen, meaning any food placed inside will remain fresh forever. Tuthan couldn't hold back his emotions, bursting into tears of joy, silently thinking that he no longer had to eat dirt like in his past life. He dusted off his hands and opened the system list to check the gathered supplies. A list appeared before his eyes. 258 bags of rice, 152 bottles of cooking oil, 155 kg of vegetables, 220 bottles of mineral water, 375 boxes of instant food, 95 boxes of spices, 186 bottles of alcohol. Looking at the list, too, then silently sighed with relief. So good. Finally, I can feel somewhat reassured. At that moment, the sound of a metal door being pushed loudly came from outside. The manager and 2 porters entered, calling out loudly as they walked, "You guys help move the goods out with me." But after just one step, all 3 froze, eyes wide, looking around the empty space before them. The entire warehouse, once piled with goods, was now completely empty. The manager gaped, stammering, Am I seeing things? Where are the goods?" Then he turned angry, pointing directly at Tuthan, shouting furiously, "Where is everything? Hey, I'm asking you." Tuthan remained calm, slowly raising his hand. Another small spatial gate appeared behind him. He smiled and said, "The goods, I took them all." His casual answer made all 3 in front of him freeze in shock. What? Realizing something was wrong, the manager immediately shouted, "He's trying to escape, catch him! Stop him!" 2 burly employees rushed forward to restrain Tuthan, but at that moment he opened another spatial gate, quickly jumped back, and disappeared inside. Before leaving, he turned around, smiled, and waved, "Right from now on, I won't be late for work anymore." The employees lunged forward, but only barely missed him. Before they could touch Tuthan, the spatial gate slammed shut. The 3, the manager and 2 employees, stood blinking, staring into the void, their eyes full of confusion and bewilderment. Where did he go? Did he really disappear? Outside the warehouse, another teleportation gate suddenly appeared. Tuthan flipped out lightly from inside, landing on the ground gracefully and stylishly like in an action movie. He immediately closed the spatial gate, resolute. "This is my second ability, spatial leap. I can teleport within a 3-meter range any time." Tuthan looked back at the warehouse one last time. In the apocalypse, this ability will be his trump card. Thanks to it, he can infiltrate ruined areas to find supplies and retreat safely, even when facing the most dangerous mutated creatures. Tuthan took off his uniform, tossed the shirt up, and whispered, "Done. The $0 shopping campaign is over." As he prepared to leave, suddenly his phone rang in his pocket. I read a message from the government currently. Intense tectonic movements are happening, causing localized natural disasters. However, the entire situation is under control and will not affect the daily lives of citizens. Please do not panic. After reading the message, Tuthan clicked his tongue. The government's afraid of causing panic. They know the apocalypse is coming, but still try to reassure people. I was about to turn off the phone and continue leaving when a sudden call appeared on the screen. The caller's name immediately changed, Tuthan's expression from calm to furious. Tuthan looked at the name flashing on the phone screen. Kwang Hyo Tien, the girl he once loved, wholeheartedly cared for, and protected every bite and every sleep in the apocalypse. Now she only made him feel cold to the bone. After a moment of silence, he took a deep breath and pressed the answer button. "Hello?" On the other end, Kwang Hyutian's voice immediately came through, full of annoyance with no politeness at all. "Tuthan, did you dare to play the disappearing act on me? And you even hung up on the real estate agent. What's that about? You're not trustworthy at all. Do you think selling the house means some girl would want to stay with you?" While talking, she applied lipstick while complaining as if scolding a familiar man. She continued with a tone full of blame and drama. "Although I don't care whether your house is big or small, I'm still a girl. If you don't give me the house, how can I feel safe being with you?" Tuthan's voice turned icy cold. "You called just to say those things?" Kwang Hyutian immediately showed a displeased attitude, sensing the coldness from the other end. "What's your attitude? I'm giving you one more chance. Come back and move the house for me right now, or don't even dream of marrying me." Without letting her say more, Tu then coldly hung up. He muttered, "I'm on my way back to Thuongdo. We'll talk when I get there." After hanging up, Tuthan's expression grew serious and then turned angry. He recalled what happened in the past of the previous life full of blood and betrayal. "Kwang Hyutian, in the previous life we lived together for 5 years in the apocalypse. I was the one who searched everywhere for supplies to feed you. I was the one who brought you into the safe zone. Without me, you would have starved to death out there long ago." Tuthan clenched his phone tightly, his eyes filled with hatred. In his mind, cruel memories surfaced once again. That guy Vuong Haovu, Kwang Hyutian's accomplice, strangled Tuthan without mercy. In that suffocating moment, he still clearly saw his own terrified and panicked face when betrayed. A quiet question caught in his throat. Why? Just as he stopped breathing, Kwang Hyutian approached Vuong Haovu with an inviting look.
"Than is dead, so he's useless. Now it's our turn."
She pretended to be a weak, innocent girl playing the seduction game on Vuong Haovu, who was full of lust. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Since he's dead, you have to take over. Tonight, no fear, no pity, only coldness, deceit, and cruelty." Then the girl who was everything to him opened her legs herself and called Vuong Haovu to do his thing as if nothing had happened. "In the previous life, I was really a fool, yet I put all my trust in those two miserable people." Tuthan clenched his fists until they shook, then relaxed and sighed softly. "This time, Kwang Hyutian, Vuong Haovu, you will pay. Not just die, but die painfully. The pain I endured, I want you to taste it 100 times over." As soon as he finished, he opened his contacts and called Director Liu, the real estate agent handling his house. As soon as the line was picked up, Tuthan said urgently, "Hello, Director Liu. I'll sell that house for half price. I just need cash right now." After hanging up, Tuthan immediately took a taxi to Director Liu's real estate office. As the car stopped in front of the door, what caught his eye was Kwang Hyutian and Vuong Haovu waiting there. Seeing him, Kwang Hyutian curled her lips with a sarcastic tone. "Do you know how long I've been waiting?" "Today." Tuthan got out of the car and coldly walked past her, brushing away all old emotions, and said bluntly, "Move aside." Both Kwang Hyutian and Vuong Haovu were stunned by Tuthan's unusual behavior. Vuong Haovu immediately blocked his way, face fierce. "Who allowed you to sell the house? How dare you sell my uncle's house? Let me tell you, do you believe I won't let you see the sun tomorrow?" Faced with that threatening expression and words, Tuthan didn't reply, but quietly reached out, grabbed Vuong Haovu by the throat, and lifted him like a sack of sand. The sudden move caused Vuong Haovu to panic. Before he could react, Tuthan slammed him hard to the ground. Blood spattered from his mouth, his eyes rolled back, and he screamed in pain. Tuthan coldly bent down, gritting out each word. "My head, I decide how to deal with it." Kwang Hyutian was horrified by Tuthan's violent action and immediately rushed forward, grabbing his shirt, screaming and throwing a tantrum. "Let go! What are you doing? Is anyone there? Help! Murder!" But unlike the weak image she usually used to win others over this time, Tuthan didn't hold back. He gave her a slap like a thunderbolt that sent her sprawling to the ground, dazed and not understanding what was happening. She raised her hand to her cheek, eyes filled with confusion, staring at Tuthan in shock. "You still—" Meanwhile, Vuong Haovu, whose neck had been squeezed by Tuthan for too long, was now slipping in and out of life and death. He tried to stifle the pain and whispered, Let go." Tuthan looked at him with contempt. "Don't worry, you won't die that quickly." As soon as he released his grip, Vung Hao Vu felt like he had escaped the Grim Reaper's blade, coughing violently as he scrambled backward, eyes panicked as if facing a real demon. Totan ignored the two schemers writhing there and walked straight into the real estate office to continue his plan. Behind him, Kung Hiu-tien hurried over to support Vung Hao Vu, her voice full of worry. Little Vu, how are you? You're lying together, rubbing up like chickens, and still pretending to care. What a cheap trick. She seemed not to understand what was going on, yet immediately turning back to look at Totan and shouting, Stop right there! I'm giving you one last favor. Kneel down and apologize now, or don't even dream about marrying me for the rest of your life. Totan said no more, just coldly turned around, casting a sharp but well-intentioned glance at the two schemers. Vung Hao Vu and Kung Hiu-tien sensed the killing intent from Totan hadn't faded, immediately protecting themselves. The two cowards panicked and ran away as fast as they could. Vung Hao Vu ran while shouting loudly, Here, you wait, I'll get you. Totan watched their backs and quietly muttered, Trash. A moment later at the real estate office, Director Liu warmly poured water and invited Totan in, though his heart was filled with sly schemes. With a fake smile, he said, Mr. To, I'm willing to buy your house back. What do you think? Director Liu outwardly appeared respectful and polite, but secretly harbored deep plots. He calculated that a house worth over 1 million if bought back for 700,000 from this fool would easily net him a few $100,000 in profit. Totan smiled as I sipped water and replied, Maybe, but full payment must be made. Can you pay today? Tothan's words made Director Liu as happy as if he had struck gold. He quickly and warmly confirmed, Yes, I can. Let's sign the contract payment next week, then transfer the title. Totan held the contract, quickly nodding in agreement. He thought to himself, Then the house is yours. Just make sure you dare to live in it. Immediately after, Director Liu, with a trustworthy appearance, transferred the money to Totan. Totan checked his phone for a message from the bank. Thuongdo Bank, 700,000 has been deposited into your current account. After the agreement was completed, Totan politely said goodbye to Director Liu. Leaving the office, he walked while pondering. Even though disasters happen frequently nowadays, Thuongdo lies in the Central Plains, far from earthquake zones, tsunamis, or volcanic eruptions. Moreover, the government has denied all rumors, so life here remains orderly and peaceful. He suddenly passed a utility pole plastered with quick loan flyers. He smirked to himself, thinking, What I need most right now is money. Whoever dares to lend, I'll borrow it all, and how I repay later depends on which package you choose to help me with, ha ha ha. He noticed the flyer about loan services. Totan stopped, secretly wondering, loan shark lending, lightning fast. He realized the opportunity to make money had arrived. Totan immediately pulled out his phone and dialed, Hello, hi, is this a lending company? I have a real estate certificate. Can I use it as collateral? After contacting them, Totan quickly went to the arranged location at the Hanhai International Building at the office of Dai Hai Lending Limited Liability Company. The fat guy Vung Dai Hai smoothly explained to Totan the handsome, Your house isn't worth much. Hearing that, Totan raised an eyebrow and asked, So how much can I borrow? He glanced at the fat guy in front of him, inwardly feeling disgusted. Turns out this is Vung Hao Vu's boss. This fat Vung Dai Hai died miserably in the mouth of a beast in his past life. While puffing on a cigarette, Vung Dai Hai held Totan's red book and said, At most you can borrow 500,000, but the red book must stay with me. Totan didn't want to get involved further with this guy. Immediately stood up, placed his hand on the red book, and decisively concluded, Add 100,000 more, I'll settle it now. Totan reassured his counterpart confidently, promising that if given 1 week, the lost money would be fully repaid. Hearing this firm affirmation from Vung Hao Vu, he secretly rejoiced. In his heart, he realized the other party was nothing more than a gambling addict. Once involved in this, even his own parents would dare to sell him off just to recover the money lost. You fool, let's see if I can beat you today. Vung Dai Hai puffed on his cigarette and reminded him that as long as he brought the land use right certificate to pledge at his company, everything else would be easy to settle. After the deal with Vung Dai Hai was done, Totan immediately received 600,000 transferred directly into his account. Meanwhile, at another scene where Kung Hiu-tien and Vung Hao Vu were standing, Kung Hiu Tien touched the bruised mark on her cheek in anger, muttering, "I was just taking back what belongs to me. What's wrong with that?" This guy dared to lay hands on me. He definitely has to pay. Vung Hao Vu got out of the taxi, clutching his neck in pain, gritting his teeth and swearing, "I will make this bastard pay." Damn it, I have to let the big brother kill him. Suddenly, Totan appeared passing by this place. Kung Hiu Tien was stunned and confused, then turned to ask Vung Hao Vu, "Hung Tio Vu, look, is that Totan?" Vung Hao Vu held his neck, his face a mixture of pain and anger, nodding in confirmation. "Damn it, that's him. What is he doing here?" Kung Hiu Tien's anger flared, clenching her fists, determined to get to the bottom of this. Let's see what this guy has been up to these past few days. Totan headed straight to the Sixth Thang Hotel. In his memory, many commercial buildings had collapsed under the destruction caused by seawater flooding, and the harsh, freezing cold causing them to fall quickly. Yet the Sixth Thang Hotel had stood firm through all kinds of natural disasters. Totan leisurely walked inside, pondering as he went. He'd heard that the presidential suite here was fully equipped even with a swimming pool. Choosing this place as a long-term base would really not be bad. Although many warehouses had been emptied before they lacked hot food and fresh vegetables essentials for an ideal shelter. Seeing a guest enter the receptionist, Lu Hun-Yi, pretty and professional, immediately greeted him. "Hello, I'm the food and beverage manager of the Hotel Lu Hun-Yi. How may I assist you, Mr. Tothan?" She was instantly stunned by his request. "Hello, I want to book 1,000 banquet tables. Is that possible?" Lu Hun-Yi couldn't believe her ears and asked in surprise, 1,000 tables." After a brief moment of confusion, she quickly regained her composure, smiling as she replied, Yes, we have packages at 5,000 yuan per table, 10,000 per table, and higher options at 30,000 or 50,000 per table." While explaining, Lu Hun-Yi secretly observed Totan, thinking, "Wow, this dignified young man turns out to be a hidden second-generation rich." Totan smiled calmly, choosing, "Then 10,000 per table, 1,000 tables total. I'll put down a 500,000 deposit and pay the rest in a week." After confirming with the hotel, Totan silently praised the Sixth Thang Hotel's standards, indeed as high class as rumored. Lu Hun-Yi beamed and warmly invited him, "A 500,000 deposit, please follow me this way to make the payment." Totan nodded with a smile. The estimated ingredient cost had already reached 500,000. But to build relationships with the wealthy, this amount was totally worth it. In business, the most important thing is knowing how to handle things gracefully. I'm Lu Hun-Yi, guiding Totan while curiously asking, "By the way, how should I address you?" Totan replied coldly, "Totan." Lu Hun-Yi couldn't hide her curiosity and continued, "Mr. To, are you booking the banquet for a wedding?" Totan, catching the idea, immediately nodded. "Yes, it's for a wedding. Please help me book a presidential suite." After completing the payment and deposit, Totan left the Sixth Thang Hotel in a good mood, thinking happiness really is booking a 10 million banquet with a 500,000 deposit done and the final payment later. Haha, on the hottest doomsday, even an ice block is worth hundreds of millions. Lu Hun-Yi, seeing the presidential suite for the first time, couldn't hide her excitement, thinking, "Wow, this is the honeymoon presidential suite. Anyone marrying him will definitely be overflowing with happiness. This girl is pretty, but she curses a bit too much, heh." Meanwhile, Kung Hiu Tien and Vung Hao Vu secretly observed from outside after witnessing Totan's transaction and conversation with the hotel staff. Kung Hiu Tien stepped closer and asked Lu Hun-Yi, "Hello, I want to ask, what was the person just now doing here?" Lu Hun-Yi looked at her, probing, "May I ask, are you Kung Hiu Tien?" Immediately reply to him that Tathan is my boyfriend. Hearing that, Lu Han-Yi felt a bit sad, but still told her boyfriend that she just booked a 1,000-table banquet at the hotel and we put down a deposit of 500,000 yuan. You're really lucky to have a boyfriend like that. Lu Han-Yi observed Kung Hiu Tien clicked her tongue and thought to herself that this girl only has a 7 out of 10 charm, even less than hers. Does a rich person really like this type? Hearing the receptionist confirm the matter, both Kung Hiu Tien and Vung Hao Vu were stunned and shouted in unison, No way! How could he have the money to book 1,000 banquet tables?" Lu Han-Yi reopened Tathan's transaction information on her phone and explained that rich people often like to hide their identity, fearing their girlfriends would covet their wealth. They only reveal everything on the wedding day. Kung Hiu Tien, hearing this, began imagining grand scenarios in her mind. What if before the wedding they suddenly disappear or cause mental pressure or something like that? Yeah, Vuong Haovu asked confusedly. That damn Tathan, is he really rich? Lu Han-Yi showed the phone screen to both of them to confirm. Of course, here. 500,000 just transferred. After collecting information about Tuthan Kwang Hiu Tian and Vuong Haovu left the hotel. Vuong Haovu, puffing on a cigarette, asked Sis, who is he planning to invite to a 1,000-table banquet at a 5-star hotel? Kwang Hiu Tian, face bright and chest rising, proudly replied, You don't understand. Obviously, it's to introduce me to the upper class and reveal my identity. Vuong Haovu immediately stood up, about to play some trick, his face showing a cunning look, asking, Heh, so what should we do? Kwang Hiu Tian waved her hand decisively. I'll take the initiative to give that flatterer a chance to expose himself. In her mind, lavish and splendid scenes began to appear, making her mentally thrilled. She had never dreamed of such a scene in her life. Unexpectedly, it could be realized through that flatterer Tathan. Meanwhile, Tathan seriously sat at his desk, carefully recalculating expenses. Sold the house for 700,000 yuan. Borrowed 600,000 yuan at high interest. Ordered dishes costing 550,000 yuan. But the previous zero-cost shopping spree still left many essential items unpurchased. Although only 800,000 yuan was deposited, the rest was not exactly abundant. Among the 36 stratagems, fleeing is the best. Tathan suddenly had an idea. His eyes lit up as if seeing the light of the future. He grinned wickedly. If I don't borrow online now, it would be a pity. Tathan quickly downloaded more than 80 online loan apps at once. Each app allowed borrowing between 30,000 and 310,000 yuan. He started posing for selfies carefully, following the instructions required by the apps to complete the loan procedures. After a time of persistently fishing for loans on various platforms, Tathan threw down his phone and sighed in relief. A bank notification sounded. Your demand deposit account has accumulated 9,777,000 yuan today. Tathan leaned back, relaxing his muscles and feeling at ease. Finally received an online loan of 9.7 million. But he immediately jumped up, eyes determined. No more time to waste, there are still many things to buy with the money he just got. Tathan started browsing e-commerce sites from Shopee to Lazada and also Tiki to order necessary items. He operated while calculating carefully. Built-in heater, ice maker, ice cubes. Peat coal. These things are not easy to find in the city. Luckily, they can be bought online and shipped quickly. Tathan recalled the two harsh extremes of the Earth after the apocalypse. Extreme heat, then extreme cold. Surviving that phase depends on preparing these things well. Finding the phone number of the coal supplier, Tathan immediately called. Hello, may I ask how much peat coal costs now? 500 per ton. I want 2,000 tons. Price is not a problem. I'll transfer 500,000 first. The rest I'll pay upon receipt. Yes. Then Tathan contacted the ice factory. Hello, is this the ice factory? I want to order ice cubes. I'll come in person to discuss. Just stepping out the door, Tu then unexpectedly ran into Kwang Hiu Tian and Li Na walking together. After hearing Hiu Tian recount the story, Li Na silently changed her opinion about Totan. Seeing him walk past, Li Na spoke in a sweet voice. Oh my, isn't that Totan? Long time no see. Tian has been thinking about you these past few days. Totan glanced at Li Na, secretly thinking that his close friend always badmouthed him behind his back. Kung Hiu Tian was the one who took over his house. Hearing Li Na say this, Totan responded coldly. Remember what? Remember my house? Seeing Tothan's unusually cold attitude, Li Na awkwardly stammered an explanation. Oh, come on, Than Hiu Tian was just testing you at that time. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Don't you know how much Hiu Tian was hurt? Kung Hiu Tian pretended to be gentle, blushing as she stepped closer, trying to hold on to Totan. Totan, can you come with me? I'm not feeling very well. I upset you yesterday. Please don't be mad at me. But Totan, knowing Hiu Tian's true nature during the apocalypse, walked away coldly. I have business today. You can take a walk by yourself. Kung Hiu Tian and Li Na stared in confusion at Totan's attitude. They both commented in unison, What's going on here? This guy acts way too well. Li Na watched Totan's figure walk away. Announcement, Totan drove away. She thought to herself and reminded Hiu Tian to hurry and catch up. This is definitely his test for you. A while later, at the Manhwa ice factory, Boss Ngo was already waiting at the gate. Seeing Totan get out of the car, Boss Ngo warmly ran over to shake his hand and greet him. Are you Boss To truly a talented young man? Totan smiled in response. Boss and Go I already called earlier and made everything clear on the phone. 2,000 tons of ice for food and drink. How long will it take to finish? Hearing Tothan's question, Boss and Go proudly patted his chest. Our ice factory may not be the best at everything, but our work efficiency is absolutely #1. 2,000 tons of ice for food and drink only takes 3 days. 400 ween per ton total, 800,000 final price. Totan didn't haggle and immediately opened his phone to transfer the money. Okay, I'll pay a deposit of 100,000 first. Deliver to the address I provide in 3 days. Boss and Go happily raised his QR code and laughed loudly. All right, no problem. After Tothan finished the transfer, Boss and Go beamed, his eyes sparkling with money as he spoke. Hey, Boss To, why do you need so much ice? Is there some big event? Later on, we can cooperate again with better prices. Tothan stepped out of the car and smiled in reply. I'm preparing to go to the Ansa Federation to do charity work. Tothan's answer made Boss and Go, who was ecstatic moments ago, suddenly stunned. After Totan left, Boss and Go watched the car's tail and muttered to himself, this 800,000 deal is closed. Young people really do work efficiently. Shortly after, Li Na and Kung Hu-Teen's car also stopped in front of the ice factory. Boss and Go turned back with a surprised look. Someone came to do business without an appointment. Kung Hu-Teen opened the car door, her face shy as she asked, Boss Totan is my fiancé. What were you all just talking about? Boss and Go looked at Hyo-Tien slightly confused. Fiancé. What's this, some kind of spy game? Still, he responded. Boss To just placed an order for 800,000 yuan worth of ice with us. Hearing Boss and Go confirm this, Lina and Kung Hu-Tien were startled and panicked. 800,000 yuan to buy ice. It's certain now that Tothan is a super wealthy tycoon. Lina's face panicked as she asked again, Boss, what does Tothan plan to do? Boss and Go put his hand on his chin, recalling. He said he was going to the Ansa Federation to do charity work. Boss and Go's answer made the two girls go from one surprise to another. Then Totan drove to a fancy restaurant in the city, sat down and reviewed everything he had already ordered. The remaining time could be spent peacefully enjoying the sunlight before the apocalypse arrives. In his previous life, he was so busy with business that he didn't even have time to stop by a coffee shop, let alone a high-end restaurant. While Tothan was lost in thought, a waiter approached, cheerfully greeting him and handing over the menu. Tothan flipped through the menu, thinking to himself, fried goose liver smells delicious. Salted frog, duck tongue with golden sauce. No wonder this is a high-end restaurant with an average cost reaching 4 digits. Suddenly, Tothan turned to a page with a question mark priced at 17,000. Curious, he asked, what is this, a question mark, and it costs 17,000? The waiter smiled and explained, this dish is personally prepared by Chef Na Lam of the restaurant. The specifics depend on the chef's creativity. Yesta then found this restaurant quite interesting and nodded, this dish is unique. I'll order this one. The waiter immediately replied, yes, sir. After the waiter left, Tothan glanced around the restaurant. He noticed the delicately arranged bookshelves and walked over to take out a copy of Shanhai Jing to read. As he turned each page, Tothan was lost in thought before the apocalypse happened in his previous life. A strange power caused many creatures to become abnormal. The strange beasts described in Shanhai Jing were exactly like the monsters he had witnessed. These unusual transformations, if explained as species reappearance, were the re-emergence of ancestral traits over generations like growing tails, fur covering the body, and other strange things. But while Tothan was deep in thought, a beautiful girl with pink hair and a radiant dress came out carrying the dish. She introduced herself. Hello, dear customer, I am Na Lam, the head chef of the restaurant. This dish was inspired by your style. Tothan looked up at Na Lam. Suddenly, a memory flashed in his mind. Amazed, he realized she was none other than the Hell Kitchen demon chef from his previous life. During the apocalypse, Na Lam was known as the Hell Kitchen demon chef, able to turn rotten meat from strange beasts into irresistibly delicious dishes. But anyone who ate them could not escape death. Na Lam noticed Tothan's bewildered expression and thought, what's with that look? Afraid that a great beauty like me would poison the food. She smiled and tried to explain, this dish has 5 layers of flavor like 2 sides of life. One side pan-seared with oil, the other crispy fried with a 1,000-layer batter. A 2-style steak flavor that makes people unable to resist wanting to taste it. Tothan immediately took a bite and smiled approvingly, saying, can't help but praise it. This dish is very delicious. 17,000 is truly worth it. While enjoying it, he thought to himself, if she cooks for me during the apocalypse, only heaven knows if she would poison me or not. Meanwhile, outside, Lena and Kwang Hyutian were secretly watching. Lena kept slapping her thigh, trying to shoo away the buzzing mosquitoes, her face scrunched up. I heard one dish here costs over 10,000 yuan. Your husband must be a rich tycoon. Yeah, if you become a rich lady, don't forget your sisters. I'm about to die from mosquito bites. Kwang Hyutian kept her eyes on the scene inside and nodded. Yeah, I will definitely become a rich lady. After finishing the meal at Na Lam's restaurant, Tuthan continued his journey to the Baba Century restaurant. Standing in front of the restaurant, he thought to himself, Baba Century is the most extravagant place to spend money in Thuongdo, where wealthy tycoons once spent millions here. I don't even know what abalone looks like, but when the apocalypse comes, places like this luxury den of decadence will no longer exist. The biggest regret in my previous life was never setting foot here. While Tuthan held a glass of wine lost in memories, a group of excited girls gathered around with enthusiastic voices. Handsome guy, why aren't you drinking? Come drink till it's all gone with me. Tuthan replied a bit shyly, All right. While the others were lively and spirited, a girl sitting beside Tuthan was quiet, a bit shy. Seeing Tu, then look at her, she came closer, poured him a full glass and introduced herself. This is Van Van's first time here. Her boyfriend cheated on her, so we brought her here to cheer her up. Van Van, with a tense and sad expression, said, That guy is such a bastard. When I refused to sleep with him, he went looking for an old woman. Truly no character. Are you men also concerned about sleeping with women? Tuthan calmly raised his glass and explained, Men are lustful. It's ingrained deep in their bones. Tuthan's words made Van Van even more exhausted. She immediately downed her glass in one gulp. Seeing that scene, Tuthan was bewildered and reminded, Hey, that cup isn't water. After finishing the glass of high-alcohol wine, Van Van slammed the cup on the table and shouted loudly, Handsome guy, are you single? Tuthan was a bit surprised by her bold action. He confirmed, Yeah, single. As soon as Tuthan admitted his single status, Van Van immediately leaned in with a flushed face and said, So do you want to see your friend's daring move? The two friends nearby immediately cheered. That's right. That sleazy guy doesn't deserve you. Van Van bravely stepped up. At the same time, Lena and Kwang Hyutian also entered the shop, looking around to find Tuthan. Hearing Van Van's group shouting, Kwang Hyutian immediately turned and recognized Tuthan. She looked at him and shouted, Tuthan, what are you doing? Lena agreed. Is this cheating? Tuthan saw the two girls and quickly wrapped his arms around Van Van next to him, reminding, Come with me outside. Van Van was swept up by Tuthan's strong aura, thinking silently, This man is a real man. Tuthan helped Van Van stand up and quickly ran upstairs. Let's go up. Downstairs, Lena and Kwang Hyutian chased after them, shouting, Tuthan, stop right there! For me. Tuthan pulled Van Van into a room upstairs and gently locked the door. He turned and said, Sorry I didn't get to finish explaining to you two earlier. Van Van blushed shyly and said, That was my first time. Seeing her shy expression, Tuthan thought quietly, This girl. He lightly flicked Van Van's forehead, making her scream, Ouch! Tuthan reminded, Are you drunk? Stay awake, don't go out for the next few days. Stock up on plenty of food at home. Van Van winced in pain and stammered, Okay, I will. Tuthan opened the door and stepped out, not forgetting to warn, And one more thing, if you want a date, don't look for anyone here. Because after this, there won't be an after. He closed the door, thinking, Such a rare opportunity. Leaving just like that is really hard. But just as he stepped out, Tuthan immediately faced a horrifying scene. Lena banged on the door, shouting, Tuthan, don't do that! With Hyutian next to her. Kwang Hyutian kicked the door threateningly. I know you're inside. Seeing the scene in front of him. Tuthan sighed. With these two here tonight, I won't be able to have any fun. At the warehouse in the outskirts that Tuthan had chosen, the orders placed this morning started arriving. When the truck stopped, the driver and delivery staff all called out at once, Boss 2, where should we put these two containers? Boss 2, This warehouse doesn't have a cold storage. Aren't you afraid the ice will melt? I'm delivering coal here. Tathan walked around the family business warehouse, having everyone move the heaters and ice machines inside while directing to block the entrance with large rocks. He clearly instructed, just place the rocks here. At this time, Vuong Hao Vu Li Na and Kwang Hio Tien also arrived in the outskirts area. Vuong Hao Vu tried to squeeze through the crowd and whispered to Hio Tien, Sister Thien To then rented a big warehouse out here in the suburbs. He bought a lot of bulky machines, I don't know what they are, and he's moving everything inside. Kwang Hio Tien's face showed curiosity, murmuring thoughtfully, What exactly is Tu Than planning? Lai Na noticed the group from 6th Than Hotel carrying items, and quickly pulled Hio Tien's hand excitedly to inform, Hio Tien, look, isn't this the banquet from 6th Than Hotel? The red carpet is already laid out. Do you think he's going to surprise you with a proposal and guests from everywhere will rush over? Lena's words made Kwang Hio Tien feel like she was flying on clouds. Her face bright and confident, she responded, Yeah, even if he proposes, I might not agree. Lena, come with me over there to see how sincere he is. Kwang Hio Tien stepped up to To Than and asked, To Than, why are you buying so many things like this? To Than just took off his coat, glancing coldly at Hio Tien, replying, Did you come to help me move stuff? Once we finish moving, I'll tell you. To Than said he needed help. Hio Tien frowned, thinking, What kind of moving is this? I'm about to become a rich lady. Why do I have to do this kind of work? Seeing her friend hesitate, Lena immediately ran over and nudged her shoulder, reminding, He's probably testing you, wants to see if you're worthy of being a rich lady. Hearing Lena's analysis, Hio Tien nodded. Feeling it made sense, though, her face still frowned. She immediately rolled up her sleeves and ran over to help carry some boxes. All right, then, I'm not a pretentious woman anyway. With a coquettish look and flashy clothes, Kwang Hio Tien did her best to carry the box on her shoulder. Her face twisted in a grimace of despair, but she kept telling herself that to masturbate her spirit and become the richest madam, she must have noble character and profound knowledge. As long as I pass today's challenge, To Then will definitely marry me. Next to her, Lena wouldn't give up either, striking a seductive pose to deliberately attract To Than's attention. Brother, To Then I came to help too. While posing alluringly, Lena thought to herself, Is there any rich guy who isn't lecherous? Just showing a little sincerity, even if I don't become a madam, at least I'll get some benefit. To Than looked at the two ladies who willingly brought themselves to his doorstep and smirked silently. Free labor is a waste not to use. 1,000 tables, 2,000 tons of ice. Even if the hotel and factory sent more people, it would still take a long time to finish. After all the goods from various places were transported and delivered to the warehouse, the sky had already turned dusk. Seeing the work completed, To Than stretched and shouted loudly, Finally done. At the warehouse door, after a long day of public service labor, Kwang Hio Tien was drenched in sweat from head to toe. She trembled, her face contorted with resentment toward To Than. To Than, you're really too much moving stuff from morning till afternoon and not even inviting us to a meal. When I become a madam, I will definitely take all his money. Next to her, Lena was also in a miserable state, trembling and breathing heavily, blaming that bastard making us move such heavy stuff. That block of ice must weigh over 50 kilograms. Despite being angry, Kwang Hio Tien dreamily checked, Now that it's done, To Then should announce I'm the bride soon, right? The wealthy guests should be arriving soon. Lena, pale from exhaustion, agreed. Yeah, the food is all cold. Don't the guests mind rich people really are strange? On the other side, To Than generously handed each driver and delivery worker a thick red envelope. Announcement. Everyone worked hard today. I will pay the remaining amount according to the contract within 1 week. After receiving the red envelopes, the delivery drivers' faces all lit up, their eyes sparkling with surprise. One man holding a thick envelope shouted loudly, This envelope is thick, must be 10,000? The whole group cheered in unison, faces beaming, Boss is the best. Meanwhile, Kwang Hio Tien was trembling all over from exhaustion. She crawled close to To Than and asked in a low voice, To Than, do you have anything important to say to me? Yes. 2. Than replied coldly as he entered the warehouse, responding indifferently. Ah, yes, thank you very much for your help, but since there's no reward, you can leave. Kwang Hiu Tien was stunned, then voiced her thoughts. Don't joke, you must have a surprise. Let me call the guests out. Let's get married quickly. Than turned back half joking. Get married? I want to too, but right now I've not only sold the house but also piled up debts. Do you still want to stick with me? Lina couldn't believe her ears, shouting back, Impossible! The banquet costs over 10 million restaurant fees, tens of thousands. How could you not have money for all this? Than placed my hand calmly on the boxes and replied, Oh, these things are from a big boss who wants to do charity. They want to eliminate poverty in a Lap Tien, so I'm just helping out. Kwang Hiu Tien gritted her teeth, her face burning with murderous intent as she charged at Than for a showdown. So you bastard dared to deceive me. Seeing Hiu Tien go crazy and rush forward, Than nimbly dodged to the side and asked, What did I deceive you about? Missed. Than and Kwang Hiu Tien tumbled to the ground, swallowing their anger, continuously cursing, Than, you bastard, you're not a rich guy at all. I don't want to marry you. Than looked at her with contempt. Who wants a gold-digging woman like you? Than's words struck at Hiu Tien's pride, making her furious to the point of trembling, giving him a hateful glare. Afterwards, Hiu Tien and Lina angrily turned and left the warehouse. Hiu Tien shouted, Bastard, just wait! I'll make you regret it. Lina pointed a warning finger. You're finished. You're definitely finished. Then ignored the two ladies, thinking, Stupid fools, wait till the apocalypse and see how you survive. He turned back into the warehouse to finish the last tasks, to avoid being discovered. Then carefully locked the warehouse door and approached the neatly arranged supplies and goods. The supplies are finally enough. Next, just wait for the apocalypse. Then raised his hand to activate his superpower to open a dimensional rift. The supplies were sucked into his secret space in waves. That evening, in a luxurious building in Thuongdo, inside a lavish room, Vuong Dai Hai was warmly speaking to Kwang Hiu Tien. Tien, from now on follow Tu Vu, you'll eat well and dress beautifully here in Thuongdo. Just mentioning me, Wang Dai Hai also gains a bit of face. Wang Haowu wrapped his arm tightly around Xiao Xian and whispered, Sister Xian, since Tu Shen treated you like that, you should have left him a long time ago. You should be with someone like me. Xiao Xian shyly replied, Then I very much look forward to your performance. Yes, Wang Haowu said confidently. Don't worry, Sister Xian, let my big brother take revenge for you. In Xiao Xian's heart, she was calculating, her eyes showing cunning. Wang Haowu isn't bad. His big brother in Shangdu is quite wealthy. Living with them would be better than that damn Tu Shen. Just as she was absorbed in her plan, suddenly a voice rang out from the dining table behind. This woman really isn't picky, huh? Xiao Xian was startled and turned around in shock when she saw Tu Shen. Why is he here? Yes. Wang Haowu, furious and veins bulging on his face, pointed at Tu Shen and shouted, Big brother, that brat used to mess with me. Wang Dai Hai scowled at Tu Shen. You little punk, I'm about to come find you. Didn't expect you to dare lay a hand on my brother. You're really bold. Wang Haowu stood behind and asked Big brother, do you know him? Wang Dai Hai replied, That kid borrowed 600,000 from me before using his house as collateral. The due date is probably coming up soon. Wang Haowu, enlightened, grinned. So that's how it is. Looks like we can settle both old and new grudges. Kwang Xiaoxian crossed her arms and looked at Tu Shen with contempt. You owe Brother Hai money, you'll probably never be able to pay it back in your whole life. Luckily, I've cut ties with him. Lina chimed in, daring to borrow money no matter what, really reckless. After finishing his meal, Tu Shen calmly wiped his mouth and said, Hey, let people finish eating, will you? Yes. Wang Dai Hai stepped forward threateningly at Kid Mai. You better have money to pay me back. Still want to drink in the hotel? Are you looking down on me? Don't tell me you made 600,000 tonight. Wang Haowu and his gang behind began to act aggressively. No way. Big brother didn't waste words with him. This worthless punk dared to lay hands on my brother, beat him to death. Liu Hani saw the tension and quickly stepped forward to mediate. Everyone, what are you trying to do? Let's talk things over slowly. Wang Dai Hai grinned, baring his teeth, and pointed at his brother. Talking is fine. Tell this brat to kneel down and apologize to me and my brother, then we'll let it go. Liu Hani looked worried and turned to ask Tu Shen, Mr. Tu, what's going on? Tu Shen reassured her, It's nothing, just some punks. Tu Shen's words made Wang Daihai furious. He slammed the table and shouted, "Kid, then I won't go easy on you anymore. Today you're done for. Not even Miss Lu can save you." Suddenly from behind, a man stepped in and loudly demanded, "What the hell are you guys doing?" The angry man and his thugs approached and continued to ask Wang Daihai, "Who gave you permission to cause trouble here?" Wang Daihai was startled and turned pale. Tu Shen looked up and silently recognized the powerful man who had just arrived. As soon as Wang saw the powerful man approach, Wang Daihai immediately backed down and switched to a friendly, grinning attitude. "Ha ha, Brother Chang, what brings you here?" Cao Qiang didn't even glance at Wang Daihai, coldly threatening, "Today I have important business. Anyone who causes trouble won't get away with it." Wang Daihai's face looked like a dog under the table, thinking, "This Cao Qiang is a famous businessman in Shangdu with wide connections. He has many people under him. I can't afford to offend him." Immediately after, Wang Daihai hurriedly tried to make peace. "Yes, Brother Chang, please go ahead with your work. I'll come serve you drinks later." Tu Shen recalled from his past life after the apocalypse. Dongxia Cao Qiang was an extremely powerful force in Shangdu with a figure known as the Hell Chef under him. Right, I heard before that Hotel 6 City was the first place to mutate after the apocalypse hit. Now, it seems, Cao Qiang's power comes from mutant ancestors who appeared early in that place. If so, sorry, Cao Qiang. He turned his attention back to the look in Tu Shen's eyes directed at him. Tu Shen thought silently, "This opportunity is mine now." Cao Kung stared intently at To Tun, noticing his proud aura and a face that showed not a trace of fear. This intrigued him. Interesting kid. After a while, Cao Kung and Ya Lum entered a luxurious room standing before a powerful CEO seated inside. To achieve his work goal, Cao Kung pushed Ya Lum forward and introduced her. "CEO Tone, I have already invited Duanya here." Duanya's face was cold as ice as she asked the man in front of her, "May I ask why CEO Tone is looking for me?" The man named CEO Tone held a glass of wine just poured by a waiter, then spoke mockingly. "Ha ha, I've heard that Miss Doan is a great beauty. Today I finally get to see her in person." CEO Tone, with a lecherous grin, smiled suggestively and raised his glass toward Nya Lum. "Come on, have a drink." The glass offered by CEO Tone made Nya Lum a bit fearful. She thought to herself that there must be a drug in that wine. She began to worry and tried to find a tactful way to refuse. Downstairs in To Than's room, he held a glass of red wine, gently swirling it before slowly savoring it, watching the cityscape outside. "In my past life, Kwang Hu Tien and I hid in an underground basement to escape the apocalypse and extreme heat. Unexpectedly this time, after leaving her behind, she came here by herself." To Tun cast his gaze down to the pool where Vung Hao Vu and his gang were gathering. His voice was cold as ice as he said, "Kill two birds with one stone, settle old scores and new grudges." At this moment, the two brothers Vung Hao Vu were playing happily in the pool. Vung Daihai, with his stocky build, keenly felt the intense heat of the evening. He kept wiping sweat and grimaced, turning to ask his younger brother, "Do you feel it's hotter tonight than this morning?" Vung Hao Vu, wearing a duck-shaped float, nodded in agreement. "That's right. That's why I invited everyone to the pool to cool off. Plus, the girls can change into their swimsuits, too." He smiled slyly and whispered to his big brother, "Heh. Thinking about that scene, big brother, aren't you excited?" Hearing this, Vung Daihai immediately squinted and laughed heartily. He put his arm affectionately around his younger brother's shoulder. "Ha ha! This kid knows how to seize the moment." Inside, Li Na and Hu Tian had just changed into sexy swimsuits, revealing their alluring curves. Lena raised her hand to shield the light from above, feeling a little uncomfortable, and said, "Tian Tian, look at that. The moon today looks just like the sun." Hu Tian, also sweating slightly, nodded in agreement. "That's right. It's too bright." Just as the two girls stepped out to the pool area, Vung Hao Vu suddenly ran over, grabbed Hu Tian's hand, and shouted, "Tian Tian! See, the love I have for you is as beautiful as tonight's moonlight. This is the proof of our love." Kuang Hu Tian was stunned by Vung Hao Vu's overly affectionate action. Feeling very uncomfortable, she reminded him, "Hey, it's unbearably hot. Hurry and take me to the pool, please." Upstairs, To Than sipped his wine with a disdainful smile. "Ha ha! The love you guys have is about to go up in smoke." He raised his glass and lightly tapped the glass in front of him as if making a toast. "Welcome again to the apocalypse." Outside, the moon suddenly moved closer to Earth. Temperatures spiked dramatically. The heat grew increasingly intense. Vung Dai-hai's group at the poolside stood dumbfounded, not understanding what was happening. When the heat became unbearable, they panicked and rushed inside, screaming nonstop. "Ah, why is the moon suddenly burning hot like this? It hurts so much, my skin is burning." Vung Haovu hurriedly pulled Hyotian inside, running and shouting loudly, "No more swimming! Run back to the hotel now." Meanwhile, Vung Dai-hai, with his bulky frame, struggled to drag himself. Panting heavily, he shouted, "Wait for me!" Put inside his henchmen were gathered playing cards. One of them looked up and asked in surprise, "Why is it suddenly so bright outside? Does Brother Hai and the others know what's going on?" Another henchman laughed coldly, waving his hand, "Just chasing girls. That's the boss's joy. You wouldn't understand." No sooner had he finished speaking than the door burst open. Vong Haovu and the two girls panicked and slammed the door, rushing in as if fleeing from death. Everyone's skin was flushed red and burning. The gang members looked at the group, who just ran in bewildered, and asked, "Hey, what's the rush run-in like that? Why is everyone's skin turning red like that?" Behind them, one guy didn't pay any attention at all. He just hurriedly urged his comrades, "Keep hitting. Your turn." Vong Haovu and the two girls who had just run inside rolled around and wailed miserably, "Ouch, ouch! It burns so bad. It's burning, help. It's so hot I feel like I'm dying. Hurry, bring water here!" Vong Haovu, still clutching the duck float, looked up toward the water tank, his face brightening like a drowning man spotting a lifebuoy. He shouted loudly, "Water! There's water!" Without hesitation, the three of them, Vong Haovu, Hyotian, and Li Na, immediately dashed toward the water tank as if their lives depended on it. As soon as they cooled off, Vong Haovu gasped, "I'm alive." The two girls shoved each other, trying to get out. "This water is mine. Move aside." The gang members looked at each other in confusion and asked, "Hey, what's wrong with you guys? Where's Haika?" As soon as he heard his brother's name, Vong Haovu panicked and shouted, "Right, where's Big Brother?" Just as he finished speaking, the door burst open. Vong Dai-hai staggered in. His entire body was blistered and covered in smoke. He tried to weakly call for help. "Help! Save me!" Seeing their brother, Vong Haovu and the gang hurriedly rushed over. "Big Brother, are you okay? Quickly get the burn ointment. Where's the cream? Hurry. Hey, Xiaovu, you left me and ran." "Big Brother, I was wrong. I'll never leave you again." Upstairs in Cao Kuang and Na Lam's room, Mr. Tan saw Na Lam was stalling and asked, "Hey, why isn't the beauty drinking?" Cao Kuang, sensing the awkwardness, interrupted Mr. Tan. "I already prepared this banquet. Or maybe—" Mr. Tan cut him off with a glance. "In Thuongdo, when Mr. Tan, pour the wine, who dares not drink? No one has ever refused. Xiao Cao, this isn't your business." Being directly reprimanded, Cao Kuang just turned away, pretending not to hear. Nyalam glanced at Cao Kuang and silently cursed, "Damn it! They're pushing me into a corner just to win favor with Ton Duke Bill." Ton Duke Bill, a powerful figure in Thuongdo, has ruined countless women. Nyalam clearly understood that today his target was her. She looked at the wine glass in front of her and grimaced. "This glass definitely has something wrong. I absolutely cannot drink it, but how do I refuse?" Suddenly, an intense, blinding light flared outside, unbearable to the naked eye. Both Cao Kuang and Mr. Tan shouted from dizziness, "Ah! What's going on?" "My eyes." Cao Kuang immediately ordered, "Quick, pull the curtains." The burning heat spread throughout the room. Cao Kuang looked stunned, his face full of tension. Mr. Tan said, "Something seems wrong here." He also looked pale and signaled, "Let's go downstairs to see what's happening." That sudden event saved Na Lam from a dangerous situation. She breathed a sigh of relief. In the lobby, Lu Han too stood blocking the exit, signaling everyone to stop. "Do not go outside. Everyone stay calm. We have contacted the rescue team. Please wait here." However, as soon as she finished speaking, many people started shouting, "Wait, you son of a bitch! I make millions every minute. How can I waste time sitting here waiting?" "Exactly." Cao Kuang came downstairs and asked his subordinates, "What's going on with Lao Miu?" Lao Miu, standing nearby, took off his coat and hurriedly explained, "Just now, the moon suddenly shone intensely, and the outside temperature skyrocketed. According to initial information, the outdoor temperature may have exceeded 70 degrees, and nearly 100 people were injured. Yes, Mr. Tan, next to him, was also urgently contacting Minister Trio by phone. "We're at Hotel 6 Than. Can you send someone to pick us up?" Yes, I understand. Then Chao Kuang turned to ask, "How is it?" Mr. Tan frowned worriedly and replied, "Right now, upstairs is focusing on securing power. No one can be sent, and there isn't enough staff. This situation is really troublesome." In Vuong Haovu's group's room, the gang was applying ointment to Vuong Dai-hai, who kept groaning, "It hurts so bad, be gentle." A worried subordinate said, "Hi, Ka, you have to go to the hospital." "Yes," Vuong Haovu panicked. "It's so hot. How can I go outside? How can I get to the hospital now?" Vuong Dai-hai grimaced and reassured her. "Don't worry, I'll call Tio Zhao to bring the car to pick you up." Right after he signaled his men to contact Tio Zhao in the parking garage, Tio Zhao answered the phone. "Hi, Ka. I'm in the parking garage. It's so hot something seems to have happened." He hurriedly drove out. "Okay, wait for me a bit. I'll be right there." After driving a short distance, he looked up at the blazing sky and muttered, "Why is it so bright?" Before he could finish, pop, pop, pop sounds erupted. All 4 tires burst from the heat, and the car stalled. Tio Zhao angrily got out and kicked the tire hard. "Are you kidding? It's so hot the tires exploded. What kind of weather is this?" "Yes." Tio Zhao immediately turned the car around and ran back to the hotel, calling Vuong Dai-hai while running. "Hello. Hi, Ka. All 4 tires have burst. I can't make it. I have to turn back. You guys figure something else out." But just as he stepped into the moonlight shining directly on him, the sole of Tio Zhao's shoe instantly melted and stuck to the ground. Without time to react, the young man staggered and fell face-first forward. Tio Zhao hit the ground with a thud, and before he could even curse, he saw countless burned bodies scattered nearby, all charred black in a horrifying state. Terrified to the extreme, Tio Zhao blurted out, "Holy shit!" He tried to get up and run, but half his face was stuck painfully to the scorched ground, making Tio Zhao scream in agony. His desperate screams echoed all the way to where Vuong Dai-hai's group was hiding, causing everyone to panic. One member of the group trembled and dropped his phone to the floor. Tio Zhao's screams gradually faded away and then stopped completely, leaving only faint crackling sounds from the phone before it disconnected. Meanwhile, in To Tan's room, having prepared carefully beforehand, the air conditioner was still set at 16 degrees Celsius, and the room temperature was stable at 25.5 degrees, completely unaffected by the intense heat outside. The cool, quiet space allowed To Tan to comfortably lean back and slowly close his eyes to fall asleep. "Hello, Fanny. Let me spoil a bit of the next episode." Since To Tan's room was the perfect refuge from the heat, many people came knocking, faces full of hope. "Comrade, we want to..." Contrary to their expectations for help, To Tan coldly pulled out a gun and pointed it straight at them, replying sharply, "Not many of them want the government." Then he immediately issued an emergency announcement about the abnormal event. The moon suddenly emitted massive heat, causing outdoor temperatures to soar to 75 degrees Celsius, with the ground in some areas even reaching 100 degrees. This phenomenon has caused hundreds of casualties. Authorities advise everyone to absolutely not go outside, stay indoors to avoid skin burns and respiratory burns. At the city's power station, due to the environment exceeding safety limits, some ultra-high voltage substations overheated and the wiring system, unable to handle the load, short-circuited. Soon after, an ultra-high voltage substation exploded, triggering a chain reaction that plunged many city areas into severe blackouts. Vuong Dai-hai's phone beeped unexpectedly with a call notification from Tio Zhao. "Beep, beep, beep, the number you dialed is currently unreachable." "Yes," Vuong Dai-hai frowned at the screen and said anxiously, "It seems Tio Zhao has disappeared." His closest disciple, after checking outside, immediately reported back, "Big brother, the other rooms in the hotel are fully occupied. This is the last room now, we just have to squeeze in." Hearing this, the 2 girls, Kung Hyo Tien and Li Na, immediately reacted fiercely. "What kind of joke is this? How can I share a room with men?" "Exactly. I want a separate room." Suddenly, the lights in the room went out, plunging the entire room into darkness. The stifling heat became even more suffocating, making Vuong Dai-hai curse. "Damn this damn place, what the hell is going on? Why's the power out?" The men standing in the room also felt unbearable and began taking off their shirts one by one, trying to ease the burning heat. And hi, the room temperature must be over 40 degrees now. If we keep squeezing like this, we'll die from the heat sooner or later. Voong Dai-hai gritted his teeth, turned around, and ordered, "We have to figure something out." Kung Hyo-tin suddenly spoke up with a bold idea. "I remember Tothan's presidential suite has a swimming pool. Maybe we can go hijack it." Meanwhile, inside Tothan's room, he was leisurely swimming and reminiscing about his past life. He clearly remembered that the electrical system in Thuongdo had hidden dangers due to improper maintenance. Even though manpower was increased, the city's power grid still exploded, and all residents using electricity managed by the power company experienced a blackout. That's why in this life, Tothan specially chose a room with a private pool, prepared air conditioning, and installed a large capacity battery to ensure continuous power supply. He even prepared a large ice chest to keep the room temperature stable. Tothan enjoyed a glass of fine wine while reclining on the sofa, soaking in the cool, relaxing atmosphere. It seemed like after a few laps of swimming, he had burned quite a few calories. His stomach immediately rumbled loudly, making him smile in surprise. Hungry already, without hesitation, Tothan opened the otherworldly space and took out an array of delicious dishes. There were Western vegetables, flan crabs, steak-fried chicken, steamed buns, and mantu. Tothan happily split his chopsticks in delight. Done on the first day of the apocalypse, the general just needed a simple breakfast like this. He ate while chuckling quietly, wondering if any of his brothers and sisters had ever had such a light breakfast like this, ha-ha. Tothan chewed each bite silently, wondering when the opportunity for Gao Qiang would appear. Indeed, even a thunderbolt wouldn't interrupt a meal. But no sooner had he settled down than the door was knocked on loudly again. Tothan sighed for the second time. Outside came a familiar voice calling, open up, Tothan, I know you're in there." Without hesitation, Tothan stepped out and opened the door. A wave of cold air rushed out from the room, leaving the group outside, stunned. "Yes." Voong Dai-hai blinked and stammered, "MT, this really is cold air." Tothan stood right at the door, coldly asking, "What do you want?" Wang Haowu glanced inside the room, seeing premium food, cool air conditioning, and a clean pool, and immediately lost his composure, shouting loudly, "Ice cold, big bro, it really is ice cold." This room not only had a pool, but also electricity, air conditioning, and top-tier food. Outside the group, including Lina Kwang, Xiaotian, and Wang Haowu, angrily shouted loudly, "Tothan, we're about to die. So why are you enjoying yourself alone in there? That's right. You're too selfish. Get out of that room now. Come out yourself. Don't force us to take action." Without further hesitation, Voong Dai-hai immediately pushed the door and barged in, growling, "You brat, you're gonna pay for this. Give me the room, consider it the interest on your money these past few days. If not, I'll throw you out myself." But as soon as he stepped in, Tothan didn't hesitate, his face cold as ice. He immediately drew his gun and fired a shot, giving Voong Dai-hai a copper-plated bullet straight into his ribs. Voong Dai-hai bent down, looking at the spreading blood on his side, his face pale and eyes trembling. Tothan still pointed the gun at the rest of the group, coldly warning, "Take one more step and you're dead." The sudden gunshot made the group's spirits soar, everyone stunned and unable to believe their eyes. He really had a gun. "Yes." Voong Dai-hai gritted his teeth, clutching his stomach and stammering, "Tothan, you actually managed to get a gun. You're good. I admit defeat." As soon as he finished speaking, he tried to step forward again, but bang! Tothan fired again, this time shooting Voong Dai-hai's leg. The gunshots echoed loudly, terrifying the people behind even more, while Voong Dai-hai screamed in pain. "My leg." Than coldly raised his gun once more, voice full of deadly intent. "Scram, get lost, and stop wasting words. Want to die? I'll count to 3, and you better disappear from in front of me. 1, 2. Meanwhile, downstairs in the lobby, Gao Chang's angry voice rang out. "What? This is a hotel and you don't have any food?" Young lady Liu Han lowered her head apologetically on behalf of the hotel, explaining, "Sorry, the day before yesterday, someone ordered over 1,000 banquet tables. The food was almost all used up. According to the plan, fresh supplies would be delivered today." Boss Sun, annoyed, splashed a bottle of water on himself to cool down, grinding his teeth as he ordered, "Then bring all the remaining food and water up here for me." As soon as he finished, the surrounding people immediately protested angrily. "You took all the bottled water, and now you want all the food too? Damn it. This is like not giving us a chance to survive. Having money makes you so arrogant. If you have money, why don't you just leave? Water and food should be shared equally. Why should it all be handed over to you? Cao Kong's henchmen, upon hearing these complaints, immediately grew angry, their eyes blazing with fire and their veins bulging. What's this? Someone's not satisfied. Lao Tu will now invite him outside. A bunch of useless trash competing with me? No way. Suddenly, the elevator's door opened, and Wang Daihai's group staggered into the main hall, screaming in panic. Help! Tu then has killed someone! Cao Kong immediately stepped forward to check. Seeing the bleeding wound on Wang Daihai's side, his expression darkened. It was a gunshot wound. Not many people have guns. It seems that guy upstairs is very dangerous. Wang Haovu panicked and supported his big brother. Brother, how are you? Kyungshu Thian also lost her composure and shouted loudly, Everyone to Than's room has electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool. Her words instantly stirred the crowd. They surrounded Kyungshu Thian, bombarding her with questions. Are you serious? Don't lie to us, girl. Kyungshu Thian angrily emphasized every word. I saw it with my own eyes. There was ice, lots of food, even fried chicken and wine. It really is like heaven. Hearing this, the crowd seemed ignited and immediately rushed toward Tu Than's room. Why does he get to enjoy this while we're burning up like in a furnace? Damn that kid, how did he get ice and air conditioning? We can't let him enjoy it all alone. The crowd outside began shouting angrily, Bring that kid out! Hand over the ice and air conditioning! Mom, I want fried chicken. From behind, Cao Kwong ordered his men, Follow and monitor the situation. You know what to do. I don't have to tell you. The henchman immediately nodded, Don't worry, Brother Kwong. Just as the crowd moved forward to knock on Tu Than's door, the door quickly opened. Tu Than coldly asked, What do you want? I felt the cool air coming from inside. The crowd outside immediately murmured in awe, So cool it feels like every pore is being freed. A young man glanced inside and said, Tu Than, buddy, we're here to negotiate. Don't you see these are tough times? This whole hotel only has your place with air conditioning. Can you let us in to cool off a bit? Young people should learn to respect the elderly and care for the young. I guess you are the kind who helps others. At that moment, a kid standing nearby pushed forward and asked, Where's the fried chicken? Seeing a basket of fried chicken on the dining table, he shouted excitedly, Fried chicken! His mouth stretched into a big grin like someone starving for days. He immediately dashed inside like an arrow. Mom, fried chicken, I want fried chicken. Unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped inside, the kid was forcefully pushed back outside. A red bump appeared immediately on his stomach. The boy's mother screamed loudly, seeing her son unconscious. Tu Than's son stood right at the door, his cold voice ringing out, Take good care of your kids, or I won't hesitate to put someone else's head in their place. Witnessing Tu Than's decisive act, the crowd outside grew furious, their eyes full of hatred. He's just a child, isn't he? How can you do this, murderer? You're a killer. Some angry men charged straight at Tu Than, shouting for justice. People like you don't belong here, get out of my sight. He was alone. As everyone rushed forward, Tu Than said nothing and immediately fired his gun. The bullet struck the forehead of a man who was shouting, knocking him down instantly. Before the stunned eyes of two companions, he fell motionless. The two remaining men were so scared they wet their pants, their faces pale as they looked at Tu Than pointing the gun. I'm alone, but each of you only has one life. Inside the Six Cities Hotel, when Wang Haovu saw Wang Daihai's body left outside, he shouted in pain, Big brother, why did you leave my big brother out there? The henchmen had to hold him back with all their strength. Wang Haovu was not allowed to rush out. Calm down, High Brother is already dead. His wound has been necrotic for a long time. At this temperature without medicine, he couldn't have held on. Wang Haovu's eyes were bloodshot as he yelled at Tu Than in hatred, It's all because of that bastard Tu Than! Upstairs in front of Tu Than's presidential suite, Kwang Xiu Thin and Li Na repeatedly pleaded into the camera. I know you wouldn't shoot us, right? You just scared Wang Daihai, didn't you? Tu Than, could it be that you forgot how much I love you? Just let us in, you can do whatever you want. Brother, fall down so they can come in and cool off a bit. Fall down willingly so they'll want to stay with you tonight. Tu Than stepped out and opened the door, smiling softly. What a deep sisterly bond, then come in. The two girls' eyes lit up as if they had found gold. Really? I knew right away Tu Than wouldn't abandon me, brother. You're such a kind person. But before they could fully rejoice, Wang Haovu suddenly charged from behind his face, full of murderous intent. Damn it, move aside, I have to kill him now. When Vung Hao Vu's arm almost reached him, Totan calmly closed his eyes and said coldly, "Anyone who steps through this door must die." Saying that, Totan raised the baseball bat and swung a critical blow straight to Vung Hao Vu's face, sending him flying backwards. In panic, Totan and Vung Hao Vu tumbled like a ball, knocking Kung Hyutin and Li Na behind them, who all screamed out in pain. Totan slammed the baseball bat down on the ground, his cold gaze radiating deadly intent, inviting the wives to come on in. Totan's deathly look and killer appearance terrified the two girls, their faces twisted in fear, and they immediately spun around 360 degrees, shouting in unison, "No more, okay!" Yes, it's good outside too." Totan cast an icy stare at the two girls lying flat on the ground and coldly warned, "Then get lost, I don't need to say it twice." Kung Hyutin and Lena immediately ran away like fleeing ghosts, leaving Vung Hao Vu dragging himself behind, crying pitifully, "Sister Thien, wait for me." "Sister Thien!" Totan looked up at the ceiling where a machine gun with an integrated facial recognition camera was installed, thinking silently, "If you don't leave, you'll really die." A while later, in front of the 6th and Hotel Gate, a large vehicle appeared, all its tires replaced with tracks to withstand the high outdoor temperature. The people inside the hotel were overjoyed when they saw the rescue team shouting, Look, is that the rescue team's vehicle? The wheels have been replaced with tracks, the windows are insulated, it must be the rescue team. Great, we're saved." 3 vehicles stopped in front of the hotel. The rescue team, dressed in insulated suits holding weapons, got out. A soldier stepped forward loudly, demanding everyone to step back and clear the way. "Is Academician Lu Tran-Quoc here?" Immediately, Academician Lu stepped forward to confirm, "I'm here." The young soldier quickly brought an insulated suit before the academician, explaining, "Academician Lu, we're the rescue team. Please put on this insulated suit and leave here with us." Seeing the rescue team only came for one person, the crowd immediately became chaotic. Someone shouted, "Wait, weren't you supposed to rescue us?" Another chimed in, "That's right, you can't just save him alone." A rescue worker stepped forward to calm everyone. "Calm down. The government is launching a rescue operation. Midnight is the lowest temperature of the day. Tonight you can make your own way to Silicon Valley Square, the nearest relief point." Hearing this from the rescue worker, everyone cheered excitedly. "Really? Is official reinforcements coming tomorrow morning?" "That's great. The government is not completely paralyzed." However, Old Ton, standing behind, looked displeased, rushing forward to claim privileges. Old Ton is Ton's clan leader of the Tondukbu Corporation. Old Ton gave them 100,000 to bring the insulated suit. He must leave immediately. But clearly, General Ton was no match for the well-trained soldiers. A rescue worker immediately subdued and pinned him down, reminding, "Academician Lu Tran-Quoc is a geologist with an important role in this disaster. Please do not obstruct our actions." General Ton shouted angrily at Cao Kung, "Cao Kung, you bastard, why did I raise you? Go get the insulated suit for me now." But at gunpoint, everyone is equal. Cao Kung's men were stunned and dared not resist, ignoring General Ton's orders. After picking up Academician Lu, the rescue team quickly withdrew, shouting, "All ready to retreat!" While the rescue team was leaving, Kung Hyutin suddenly approached and grabbed a terrified soldier's hand. "Soldier, wait, there's a madman upstairs." Lena also rushed forward, shouting in unison, That's right. That crazy murderer still has a gun in his hand. He almost took us with him just now. We absolutely cannot let that murderer go." A soldier named Xiao Feng took off his helmet and decided to stay. "I will stay. I have my limits. You take the insulated suit first. After handling it, I will contact everyone." Xiao Feng's teammate reminded him not to be impulsive during this special period. But Xiao Feng took off the insulated suit, grabbed his gun, and advanced upstairs, muttering, "Let's see what kind of god you really are." Kwang Xiaoqian stood behind with a wicked smile. "When Tathan gets shot, I will be calmly waiting in the rescue room." The corridor leading to Tothan's office was as quiet as a grave. Xiao Feng HID behind a corner, cautiously observing around. Suddenly his eyes stopped at a plant pot across from him. Humph, a camera. The camera Than placed in the plant pot to monitor every move outside had captured Xiao Feng lurking. Suddenly, the door to Tathan's room slowly opened. An arm reached out and threw a bomb towards Xiao Feng. Witnessing the sudden move, Xiao Feng startled and cursed silently. "Damn it!" The bomb rolled close and immediately exploded. But unexpectedly, it wasn't a bomb explosion, but a tear gas grenade. Thick smoke rose at Xiao Feng's feet, causing him to cough and grimace. "Damn, this is tear gas." "Cough, cough!" Eyes burning, Xiaofeng squeezed his eyes shut, thinking the situation was bad. Retreat. While struggling to endure and find a way out, a figure appeared behind Tuthan. Holding a baseball bat, he swung a strong punch. Thud Xiaofeng fell asleep. After a while in Tuthan's room, Xiaofeng gradually woke up. He painfully opened his eyes, thinking, "My eyes hurt so much. Where is this? The air feels so cool." Tuthan stood in front, holding Xiaofeng's military ID, and said loudly, "Xiaofeng, deputy leader of the special team. If you're awake, let's talk." Xiaofeng felt the cold air spreading around. He looked around, then wondered, "Is this air conditioning? Who exactly are you? How do you have guns and grenades?" "Damn me!" Tuthan put the gun down and replied, "I'm just a newly graduated student. The gun and other stuff I bought while traveling in the Middle East." Xiaofeng couldn't believe his ears and asked again, "Are you kidding me?" Tuthan slowly said, "If you don't believe me, I can't help it." He turned to ask, "Did the government set up the rescue point expecting residents to come there on their own tomorrow morning?" Xiaofeng was shocked and panicked. "How do you know?" "Chatsi." Tuthan recalled silently. "Seems no different from my previous life." He continued, "Although the temperature will drop a lot early tomorrow, those exposed to moonlight for more than 10 minutes will faint. Many will die on the way to the rescue point." Xiaofeng bowed his head shyly and replied, "There's no other way. Even though we set up safe zones, modifying rescue vehicles is very difficult. Many people can't hold on anymore and can only let civilians go to the rescue point early tomorrow morning." Tuthan stepped closer, placing a hand on Xiaofeng's shoulder, reminding him, in fact, thick quilts and thick cotton underwear also provide insulation, increasing the survival rate without fainting. Tuthan's words made Xiaofeng startle and exclaim, "Really?" Tuthan aimed the gun at Xiaofeng's head and replied, "Yeah, of course." Tuthan's action scared Xiaofeng, who hurriedly tried to delay. "Wait a minute, brother. Let me tell them about the quilts before you kill me, okay? I will only use the internal communication system. Don't worry, I won't call for backup." Contrary to Xiaofeng's thoughts, Tuthan immediately used a dagger to cut the ropes and set him free. This action made Xiaofeng dumbfounded and say, you're..." Tuthan still aimed the gun at Xiaofeng coldly, reminding, "I respect what you're doing, so I won't kill you this time. But if you dare provoke me again, I won't forgive you." Xiaofeng, still confused, asked again, "Aren't you afraid I'll call backup to deal with you after I leave?" Tuthan glanced back, signaling, "Afraid? Look up and see what it is." Xiaofeng looked up at the ceiling and immediately panicked, shouting, "A machine gun robot with facial recognition cameras. Where did you get that?" Tuthan smiled and repeated, "I said I got it from the Middle East. Once this thing is activated, no one in the room will survive except me. But in this situation, he probably doesn't have time to pay attention to me." Xiaofeng cautiously nodded in agreement. "I understand." Then he went downstairs with the rescue team. Xiaofeng's actions left the people below confused and puzzled. Someone exclaimed, "That soldier just left like that. Only talked about the blanket, but what happened upstairs?" Another person added, "Didn't you notice? The soldier's gun was already confiscated. Is that guy really that dangerous? Even the soldiers have their ways of handling things." Old Tun General watched the rescue team leave without being able to do anything, gritting his teeth in anger. "Damn it!" He turned and slapped Cao Chang hard in the face. "What did I raise you for? Why didn't you act just now, ungrateful bastards?" While Old Tun General kept lashing out wildly, Old Meow gritted his teeth and asked Big Brother Cao Chang, "How long must we endure him?" Cao Chang suppressed his anger and replied, "The government has started rescue efforts. After order is restored, we still need his higher connections." Just then, To Thun suddenly appeared from a corner and said, "Big Brother Cow, the world is already chaotic and you still want to restore order." Old Meow saw To Than and immediately flew into a rage, charging as if to devour him alive. "Where did this brat come from?" Old Tun General. "I'll shut your mouth now." Cao Chang calmly stopped him. "Wait, then why did you come downstairs?" Tuthan held a thermos filled with ice and poured it in front of Cao Chang and Old Meow. "I came to find Big Brother Cow for a deal." The ice cubes rolled out, releasing a cool mist that made Cao Chang and Old Meow feel like bloodthirsty demons in the scorching heat. Old Meow, looking at the ice cubes, went berserk and rushed forward. Ice, ice. His big brother's room must have even better stuff. Kill him and it will all be ours. Tuthan immediately coldly pointed a gun at Old Meow's throat, causing him to flinch, raising both hands and swallowing nervously. Cao Chang looked at the situation and smiled greedily. Ha ha, brother. Then don't be petty with him. We should still talk about the deal. After negotiating, Cao Chang and Old Meow got the thermos of ice. Both immediately immersed themselves in the refreshing coolness, savoring the ice cubes with delight. Old Meow, looking satisfied, muttered, I've been locked up here for 3 days. This is the first time I've felt so refreshed. I can't imagine what that brat's room is like. Cao Chang nodded first, agreeing to his request, then finding a chance to kill him. Then this room will be ours. Old Ton General saw Cao Chang hiding some of the remaining ice and angrily rushed over, stomping and scattering the ice. Well done, Cao Chang, and you still hid the ice. He continued to stomp on Cao Chang, threatening, next time if you don't bring out good stuff on your own, you're dead. Old Ton General's actions ignited a fierce anger in Cao Chang's heart. Old Ton General fondled the ice while looking toward Na Lam. Damn, these days eating instant noodles is almost over. Moving to the rescue point, including Kuong Xiaotian and Li Na, who were delighted thinking finally they were leaving this hellish place. For 2 days, they only got a little snack. Arriving at the rescue point, I could finally eat meat and drink Coca-Cola. But suddenly, Old Meow appeared, snatched the blanket off Kuong Xiaotian, who startled and screamed, What are you doing? Old Meow bared his teeth in a cold smile. Doing what? What? Cao Chang already gave you water. Now you want to leave. Not with that excuse. He cruelly yanked Kuong Xiaotian's skirt, causing her to panic. Old Meow threatened, Didn't you say you could do whatever you wanted? Then serve me first. But outside Hotel 6 City, the group began to move. A young man tried to endure the burning heat, gritting his teeth and cursing. Damn it, echoed, help! But no one paid attention, just kept walking, leaving the old lady in despair. One by one, unable to bear the scorching heat, they collapsed, writhed, screamed, then stopped moving, bidding farewell to an unfinished life. In this situation, not even sure if oneself will survive, let alone having spare time to care for others, even family. The apocalypse, save yourself first, then figure out the rest. In front of the 6 Cities Hotel, the bodies of Vuong Dai Hai and Ton Duc Tiu gradually distorted under the sun's intense heat, their entire bodies glowing red as if molten lava flowed inside. Suddenly both awoke, their blood-red eyes exuding horror. From upstairs, Tu Than watched the group leave, silently recalling, In my past life, I was like them trying to reach the rescue point, but no one told me to bring a blanket. Just a short 1K-imer, but it took the lives of so many. Down below, Kuang Xiaotian shouted, trying to stall Lao Mu. Big brother! Wait a moment! Wait a moment! Lao Mu growled. You rotten brat, what again? Kuang Xiaotian and Lai Na showed clear fear on their faces, hurriedly trying to stall Big brother. Maybe we should go to the room and not stay here. Right, we'll cooperate whatever you want. Lao Mu looked at the two girls and burst out laughing. Ha ha ha! You two sluts, are you even ashamed? What are you scared of here? But suddenly, Vuong Dai Hai and Ton Duc Tiu, now mutated, broke down the door and charged in, their bodies glowing red, their eyes bloodshot and terrifying, growling continuously. The Cao Kong group froze, shouting, These are zombies! Upstairs. Tuthen threw the core bead into a cup and poured strong liquor over it, silently thinking, In the apocalypse core, beads occasionally appear in the skulls of mutants and mutant beasts, very rare. Handled the mutant beasts Vuong Dai Hai and Vuong Hao Vu also lay unconscious nearby. Cao Kung angrily kicked Vuong Dai Hai's body, repeatedly cursing, Damn it, move a bit more, let me see. Lao Mu and his underlings looked regretfully at the water they had just used. This is our last water supply, now there's none left. Li Na took the opportunity to quietly try to escape, but Lao Mu grabbed her hand. Rotten brat, if you try to run, I swear I'll chop your legs off. No way. Li Na grimaced in pain and shouted an explanation. Brother Mu, without water, we'll all die of thirst. I have a way to deal with Tu, then let me go to the rescue point. Lao Mu angrily shook her hard, asking sharply, "If you dare joke, you're dead." Li Na, at her wit's end, and seeing this as a chance to survive, immediately revealed, "Kwang Hyo Tien is Tuthan's fiancée. If you humiliate her in front of Tuthan's room, he will definitely open the door, and then you can take the opportunity to ambush him." Lao Mu, hearing Li Na's tip, turned to look at Kwang Hyo Tien and laughed loudly. "So there's this too. That's a clever plan." Kwang Hyo Tien was stunned at being betrayed by Li Na, unable to believe her eyes, speechless. Li Na, she touched her belly that was growling with hunger, gritted her teeth, and warned the Cao Kwang group, "I can cooperate with you, but I'm hungry. You have to feed me first. I want to eat meat." Lao Mu blinked and turned back. "Yeah, eat meat. There's rotten meat in the fridge, damn it. Even Lao too wants to eat meat." At this moment, Cao Kwang, hearing Kwang Hyo Tien demand meat, stepped closer with a fierce face and asked her, "Want to eat meat?" He held out a knife in front of Kwang Hyo Tien. She glanced at Li Na and coldly said, "Then do it yourself." Kwang Hyo Tien's face turned pale with fear. Looking at Li Na, she asked, "You mean the meat on her body?" Facing the choice between friendship and survival, Kwang Hyo Tien didn't hesitate to choose life. She abruptly turned to Li Na, her cold gaze making Li Na sweat nervously and tremble. Kwang Hyo Tien hesitated briefly, looking at the knife in Cao Kwang's hand, then lunged forward to grab it, stepping toward Li Na. She was being held tightly by two underlings with cold, bloodthirsty expressions. The cruelty of her best friend made Li Na scream in panic. "What do you want to do? What on earth do you mean? Kwang Hyo Tien, we are sisters. You can't do this." Kwang Hyo Tien stepped closer, her bloodthirsty face coldly warning not to fool herself anymore. "We're not sisters. Besides, you just wanted them to humiliate me." After saying that, Kwang Hyo Tien swung the knife, holding Li Na's head with one hand. With the other hand, she stabbed more than 10 times into her best friend's belly. She gritted her teeth, saying, "So don't blame me. If you want to blame, blame yourself." The Cao Kwang group, though, gangsters used to killing, were stunned by the cold-blooded scene of sisters slaughtering each other. After dealing with Li Na, Kwang Hyo Tien looked at her best friend's corpse collapsed on the ground and laughed madly, "Ha ha ha." She looked up and yelled at Toth, "And wait for me to eat my fill. I will drink your blood dry." Cao Kwang calmed down and turned to Lao Mu, reminding him to handle Nya. "Roast the meat well so the brothers have strength to deal with Tathan." Lao Mu looked worried and hesitant, but Cao Kwang didn't look at him. He softly continued, "Without water, we can't last a day. If you don't want to turn into a zombie, do as I say." Old Cat, though annoyed, gritted his teeth and gave orders. "Send the men to find Duanya and bring her here." In the president's room, Tathan woke up after absorbing the nucleus. His body was filled with new power. His movement speed surged. In an instant, he had swept across the entire room. His whole body was overwhelmed by a strange sensation. Tathan stood up and noted, "This is the spirit essence. Some kind of supernatural ability." The feeling of power increased. He stepped forward, swung his hand lightly, and shattered the ice block in the room. His muscle strength also grew much stronger. Suddenly, a knock sounded at the door. Tathan silently turned, someone's here. Outside, after ringing the bell, Duanya stood shyly. She thought to herself, "Gao Chang and those guys are all crazy. The downstairs place is no longer livable. This place is the only hope. Luckily, I still have a trump card." The door slid open. Tathan, wearing only a piece of cloth, stepped out coldly, asking Duanya what she wanted. Duanya looked up and met Tathan's icy gaze. Then her eyes accidentally glanced downward at the dark area below. She blushed and shouted, pervert!" Tathan was startled, realizing he wasn't dressed. He hurriedly covered up, Sorry, I didn't mean to." After a while, they both returned to normal, though still a bit embarrassed. Tathan, after putting on clothes, sat on the sofa and coughed dryly. "Resources are limited. I've only just met you. I'm not keeping you just because you're beautiful." In his mind, Tathan silently thought, based on a previous life, Duanya was a strong woman. She and Gao Chang had cooperated before. He'd considered recruiting her, but the atmosphere now was a bit awkward. Duanya didn't dare look Tathan in the eye. She avoided his gaze and looked to the side, explaining that besides being a chef, she was also an outstanding graduate of Southwest Medical University. She had a medical license and 3 years of experience as a surgical doctor. In her mind, she thought, "Is that body really so beautiful? No, this room is better. It has electricity and cold water. I have to prove my worth to stay here." Tathan regained my cold demeanor and looked at Duanya. "So you're a doctor. That's quite an attractive qualification." But supplies are scarce now. I don't know if we'll make it till tomorrow. Duanya, afraid of rejection, panicked. As long as you don't kick me out.
I can do anything.
As soon as she finished, Tathan stroked his chin with a sly smile, ha. Since the beauty has spoken, consider this your home. Duanya was startled, covering her mouth, thinking this is bad. In her haste, she said everything all at once. I too, then though smiling, immediately returned to a cold look and warned, but I must tell you first. In front of me, you only have one choice. Be obedient, don't have any schemes, or else... Duanya shyly looked down at the floor and timidly replied, I understand. I never doubted your methods or determination. Tathan smiled and reminded, good, now take off your clothes. As soon as he finished, Duanya panicked eyes wide, stammering, now what next? Immediately after receiving Tathan's order, Nyalam stepped into the bathroom and began the process of washing and drying the table. In the misty space, she stood under the cool water from the shower, silently thinking, water and electricity. Food in a bathroom, I really don't have to worry about the heat. No fear of being assaulted or eaten by anyone. Nyalam quietly let the water flow down. Her mood was both joyful and anxious for those struggling outside. This place was like a paradise and oasis in the chaotic desert. But deep inside, she sensed Tathan carried something not entirely upright, like a perfect painting but hiding some shadowy strokes. While showering, Nyalam let her mind wander with endless thoughts. Suddenly, her imagination drifted to images meant only for those over 18. She pictured herself kneeling at Tathan's feet. Look up. Tathan raised his hand to lift her chin. She smiled mysteriously and continued, next I will let you enjoy a special dish. With a flushed face, heavy breathing, and a half-covered, half-exposed body, Nyalam looked dazed at Tathan, feeling as if she had fallen into a dream. Then her mind painted even bolder scenes. She imagined Tathan secretly filming her while she bathed, though his purpose remained a mystery. Nyalam shook her head, trying to calm herself and forget it. After all, she had agreed to this when she came here, but her imagination wouldn't let go. She pictured Tathan standing outside the door with a seductive smile, explaining, I'm not here to spy on you bathing. I'm only here to stop you from doing bad things. After finishing bathing and drying off, Nyalam quietly stepped out to act out the scene with Tathan, the son of Mr. Than. When she introduced that she had experience in medicine, Tathan immediately prepared a nurse outfit for her because his little guy was weak and needed care. Nyalam put on the tight outfit that accentuated every perfect curve like a sculpture. With a shy expression, she tried to cover the half-exposed areas with her hands. Embarrassed, she asked, Tathan, isn't this outfit too small? Tathan stared at her intently without looking away. Then he rubbed his chin smugly and replied, not small, definitely, not small at all. Simply put, it's perfect. Nyalam looked back in confusion, accidentally highlighting her round backside. She looked down at the outfit and muttered, really? Just as the atmosphere was heating up, an unexpected incident struck like thunder on a clear day. Jang Hyo-keet, the uninvited troublemaker, banged loudly on the door, shouting, help save me! Tathan opened the door, but Jang Hyo-keet kept yelling, save me, I'm outside out there! Cao Kung, seeing Tuath and not respond, grabbed Jang Hyo-keet's head, bared his teeth threateningly. If you don't come out, I'll break the door down myself. Tathan wore a regretful expression as the fun was just beginning, clicking his tongue. Here we go again. He was about to get up and open the door, but Nyalam urgently stopped him. Don't open it. We can't open the door now. The people out there have already killed and eaten Lina. Before Nyalam could finish, Tathan grasped the situation and coldly asked, you mean they eat people? Memories from a previous life suddenly flashed in Tathan's mind. Without hesitation, he opened the door and stepped out calmly, warning Cao Kwang's group, don't even think about breaking into the room. If you do, you'll really be in big trouble. Meanwhile, Jang Hyo-keet, Cao Kwang, Lao Miu, and their gang were acting out the scene of a young sister being forcibly taken. Jang Hyo-keet stuck out her tongue, pleading to Tathan, save me. Finally, Tathan appeared. Cao Kwang and his gang eyes, bloodshot veins, bulging bodies, trembling with rage, bared their teeth arrogantly. So you finally show your face. Ha ha ha. Tathan stood by the door, his gaze cold as ice as he looked outside. Cao Kwang had stationed a henchman nearby, holding a knife ready to take down Tathan. Suddenly, just as planned, when Tathan spoke, the henchman raised his knife, yelling, die! But what they didn't expect was that Tathan had trained in Vietnam under Master Huynh Tuan Keat of the Electric Transmission Sect and had mastered all the martial arts essence. He had prepared beforehand, observed the cameras, and knew the situation well. With lightning-fast reflexes, Tathan grabbed the knife hand and with a few basic moves broke the henchman's wrist, stunning Cao Kuang and his men. Zhang Huqit continued acting like a victim, struggling to break free from Cao Kuang's group, shouting, "Let me go!" She rushed to Tathan, begging, "Save me, Tathan." But contrary to her hopes, Tathan showed no mercy. He coldly squeezed Zhang Huqit's throat, causing her to choke and gasp. Looking at her distorted face, Tathan commented, "Once you've officially eaten human flesh, your body will gradually change and fangs will grow in your mouth.
You are no longer human now."
Cao Kuang's group snarled fiercely behind their fierce faces, baring teeth. "The world has turned into an apocalypse. As long as we survive, so what if we eat people?" Zhang Huqit's face became more and more distorted, fangs clearly growing, tongue sticking out, long eyes blazing red. She laughed sinisterly, "Ha ha, human flesh is delicious. After eating, I feel my body full of energy. So I, Tathan, am eager to taste your flesh. So die." Zhang Huqit swung her arm to attack Tathan, but life isn't a dream. With a precise kick to the center of Tathan's face, she flew backward like a ball. The kick was so strong that Zhang Huqit was thrown out the window, but thanks to her mutated body, she quickly grabbed onto the wall and avoided a tragic death. Gritting her teeth with veins bulging, Huqit growled, Then I definitely won't let you live so easily." But as her body hovered under the sunlight, she suddenly struggled in pain. It's too hot inside." After dealing with Zhang Huqit, Cao Kuang charged up, shouting, "Brothers charge, don't give him a chance to draw his gun." Tathan calmly sneered, broken nose. "I still have to waste bullets dealing with people like you." One of Cao Kuang's henchmen jumped up and threatened Eagle Scratch. "Don't underestimate us too much, son." But Tathan coldly replied, "Didn't I say I like to waste things?" As soon as he finished speaking, Tathan pulled his gun and shot the eagle henchman in the forehead, knocking him out instantly. Cao Kuang, Lao Mu, and their gang panicked and scattered in all directions. Lao Mu crawled on the ceiling, laughing loudly. "Ha ha. Not only our strength, but also our reflexes and speed have become much stronger." He swung his fist down. "If we're ready, you won't be able to defeat us. Go die." But before hitting the ground, then used teleportation skill and suddenly appeared above Lao Mu's head, coldly saying, "You think this is the end?" He slammed Lao Mu's head onto the floor with a thud. Tathan roared, "Go to hell." Another henchman swung a knife at Tathan's neck, but he grabbed the hand, disarmed him, and took down 2 others with a few clean slashes. Cao Kuang watched his henchmen fall one by one, rage flaring as he charged like a wild beast. Before reaching Tathan, he was grabbed by the collar and slammed against the wall, gradually losing consciousness. At that moment, Zhang Huqit, fully mutated, reappeared. Her whole body oozed magma and a long tail as she charged into the room like a monster. Tathan looked at her coldly. "Zhang Huqit, finally. You transformed into this state so quickly. It seems my obsession runs deep because your eyes and soul still linger in me." After finishing speaking, Tathan snapped Cao Kuang's neck, dropped his body to the floor, but his whole body was filled with killing intent. He looked toward Zhang Huqit. "Then I'll kill you again directly." Zhang Huqit's hair stood on end, her eyes blazing with hatred as she screamed, "My dinner!" Nyalam peeked out from the room, eyes wide in surprise, looking at Tathan, silently admiring how powerful he was to take down Cao Kuang's entire gang alone. But seeing Zhang Huqit in her grotesque monster form, she couldn't help but worry, thinking the monster in front of Tathan gave off a very dangerous vibe. In a sexy nurse outfit, Nalam stood hiding behind the door, her heart heavy with anxiety mixed with longing. She silently wished to stay by Tathan's side as long as possible, like a fledgling bird seeking shelter during a storm. By now, Tathan's appetite has become much more obedient, hasn't it, brothers? Nyalam quietly considered she really had to think of a way. If she wanted to stay with Tathan, she couldn't become a burden to him. Suddenly, Nalam's eyes lit up when she spotted an interesting item in the room as if it was beckoning her. After entering, grabbing the weapon, and mentally preparing herself, Nalam stepped out, calling Tathan. At this moment, Tathan was ready to confront the monster Zhang Huqit, but the call surprised him and he turned around. What's up? Nyalam, wearing a tight nurse outfit that covered what needed covering, and revealed what should be seen, holding the riding crop that Tathan had prepared for an emotional healing night. She seriously warned, "Let me remind you all a bit. Make sure that many of you who witnessed this scene voluntarily take your hands off the little guy." With a half-revealing outfit holding a whip, Na Lam firmly stepped forward and said to Tothan, "Let me help you deal with it." Despite trying to suppress the excitement rising in his body, Tothan coldly turned around. "Help me. Not panicking to the point of running away isn't bad, but you're just distracting me." Na Lam was stunned, looking down at her whole body, holding the whip confused. How could that happen? But only Na Lam didn't understand. Tothan and the others watching all knew why he was so distracted, like a vivid painting no one could look away from. On the other side, the monster Jang Hyukit seemed to still cling to some human memories. Seeing Tothan and Na Lam exchange glances, its jealousy erupted into rage. Jang Hyukit bared its teeth, licked its lips, snorted, and its blood-red eyes screamed a savage roar. After each scream, it charged straight at Tothan, its distorted, terrifying face like a living nightmare. Tothan, distracted by the scene, suddenly heard Jang Hyukit's yell and turned around, but couldn't dodge a powerful blow from the monster that slammed into his chest. Tothan and Na Lam, hiding behind the door, witnessed the scene and cried out in shock, "Tothan!" But contrary to her worries, Tothan's body was unharmed, not a scratch. Thanks to the unexpected hit, the killing intent in Tothan exploded, activating his berserker superpower. The monster Jang Hyukit saw Tothan was still intact, immediately jumped up and swung behind his back, baring teeth and foaming at the mouth, aiming for his shoulder to bite. But Tothan's body was as hard as diamond, and the monster's jaws only made a dry clang like biting steel. It tried to bite several more times, but all were useless. Tothan coldly looked down, his eyes sharp as knives. "Oh, you can't bite, huh? I wonder if all those fangs in your mouth are just for show." Power surged through Tothan's body, and he concluded, "It's time to stop." As he finished speaking, Tothan grabbed both of Jang Hyukit's hands, moving so fast it seemed like he was reminiscing old memories. He jumped backward, landed on the monster's back, twisted its arms behind, fully restraining it with his literally burning body. Jang Hyukit stared blankly, eyes wide. "I am to them." Like a war god stepping on its head, he coldly asked, "Are you ready?" Without giving the monster time to react, Tothan used his bone-pulling technique to tear off both its arms and then kicked hard, sending Jang Hyukit crashing into the ceiling with a fatal blow. Blood gushed from its nose and its body trembled. The monster screamed in pain while Tothan gently landed, still holding its two arms, and threw them back at the monster like tossing a toy. He calmly said, without malicious intent, "I really wanted you to endure ultimate suffering in the apocalypse and chew on the feeling of dying slowly from torture, but given the current situation, I have to kill you first." Thinking the monster had fallen unexpectedly, Jang Hyukit crawled toward the elite group's bodies, wrapping its tail tightly to prepare to devour and upgrade its body. It tilted its head back, opened its mouth, revealing terrifying teeth, swallowing each corpse whole. After digesting, its two arms grew back. Jang Hyukit screamed in joy, its body evolving into a more ferocious form, veins bulging all over its face. It growled at Tothan with a hateful glare. But Tothan was slightly surprised, silently thinking, "Your severed arms have now grown back." Nyalam witnessed the horrific scene, stammering in fear. No way could that be possible." But contrary to her worries, Tothan smirked excitedly. "Very good, the ability to regenerate means you won't die so easily." He raised his head, his gaze full of killing intent rippling down his spine. "This also means I can tear your body into 1,000 pieces." While the creature was still posing, Tothan rushed in at the speed of sound, placing his hand on its shoulder to restrain its body. Jang Hyukit panicked. Tothan stood beside her, gently holding her hand, and said softly, "Let me see how many more times you can regenerate your body." He pressed down coldly on the creature's shoulder. "Let's start with your left arm." A strong yank tore off the left arm, causing the creature to scream in pain. Tothan moved to the right shoulder affectionately. "Then we'll move to the right arm." Without hesitation, Tothan ripped off the right arm, continuing the brutal torture. "Next will be your tail and legs." Each part of the creature flew into the air with every swing from Tothan. He gently and calmly placed its foot and head down. "This is only your first time." Each time the creature's body regenerated, it showed more and more exhaustion, and as the limbs and tail regrew, Jang Hyukit lay panting. Tothan smiled kindly. "You're ready to wait for me to enter round 2, right?" Now let's begin. Tuthan continued dislocating the joints surgically. The murderous smile left Na Lam stunned. After round 2, the creature couldn't endure any more crawling and trying to escape fear in its eyes as it looked at Tuthan. But every time its limbs and tail regrew, Tuthan would announce round 3, then round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7, round 8. While torturing Tuthan emphasized, turns out not only the limbs but also the eyes, nose, and tongue. Next, the 16th time, the internal organs can also regenerate. It seems that except for your head, all other parts can regenerate as before. Isn't 21 times enough for you? Tuthan paused. My cold eyes looked down at Jang Hyo-keet, who had lost all aggression, only 2 tears streaming down her face. She exclaimed, "Then now I know how to beg you to spare me." Tuthan replied coldly, "I originally intended to gouge your eyes out, but I suddenly remembered one thing: I am not a demon." Jang Hyo-keet whimpered,
Why are you doing this to me?
"What crime did I commit that makes you treat me like this?" But Tuthan recalled what Jang Hyo-keet and her subordinate Vuong Hao-vu had done to him in his previous life. He raised his foot, aiming straight at the creature's face. Of course, this was for revenge. A strong kick flattened Jang Hyo-keet's face. Nya Lam stood behind, eyes fearful and worried, asking Tuthan, "Are you okay?" Tuthan did not answer, just turned around. My eyes blazing red. "Are you ready?" Nya Lam startled, confused. "Ready for what?" Tuthan stepped closer, stroking her cheek with one hand, the other slipping down below. The intimate gesture, "Just now I showed great courage. Aren't you going to reward me somehow?" Nya Lam tried to resist, but only weakly struggled. Her face flushed. She was embarrassed by the reward, but here, the scene shifted to the rescue team area. A member looked around, sensing the air was cooler, silently wondering if this was a sign the apocalypse was ending soon. Lo Tu-fong appeared behind, hesitating. "Captain, there are many people over there. It seems they are moving closer to our area, Captain." A platinum-haired woman with sharp eyes and a hot figure held a gun, squinting to observe the approaching crowd. Sensing something unusual, she hesitated. "Those people, that crowd, are mutated Han Bat moving from Hotel 6 City to the rescue point, shambling and terrifyingly howling." Among them, a Han Bat resembling Jang Hyo-keet was kicked flying by Tuthan over 10 meters, dazed. The captain broke out in sweat. "Shocked zombies. The fierce zombies are charging." She immediately shouted, "Evacuate the civilians at the rescue point immediately. I will personally stop these zombies." Lo Tu-fong shouted anxiously, but the captain fired continuously. "This is an order." Lo Tu-fong sadly said, "Captain, please don't die." The captain cursed while shooting Lo Tu-fong, "Shut your rotten mouth. Get lost now." Returning to the main scene after defeating the powerful group, and Jang Hyo-keet, Tuthan, and Nya Lam entered the bedroom. His whole body emitted a radiant light. Slick hair flip. Cold eyes looked at Nya Lam. "Next, I want you to directly experience the unlimited power of Bosako. You are Bisako, the nickname of warriors who terrify enemies with a savage style like a beast in madness." For Nya Lam, Totun's dinner would surely involve countless positions like the farmer planting radishes, the old farmer pushing a cart, or carrying a plow over the mountain. Nya Lam looked at Totun with a godlike strength full of desire. Frightened, she tightly hugged the blanket and shouted, "What?" Again, how many times has it been this time? Totun, like a beast full of animal instinct, pinned Nya Lam down. With a hungry gaze, Tothan, with cold eyes like ice, warned my prey, "Ha ha, the harsh heat disaster has passed. Of course I have to go outside, but before that I will leave you unforgettable deep memories." Nya Lam in a position turning her hips toward the enemy, highly alert like a wildcat ready to pounce on prey. But in this situation, her caution seemed insignificant. Hearing Totun say that, she hesitated and asked, "Can't you take me with you?" Totun disliked his dinner, asking repeated questions. He immediately crushed Nya Lam's hope like a sewing machine running at full speed. His eyes flashed a fierce light like a devil manifesting, coldly declaring, "Those who want to be by my side must meet 2 conditions. First, they must be valuable to me. Second, they must absolutely obey my orders." Nya Lam, in a daze, pressed both hands firmly on the bed frame. Her eyes squinted with each pulse of Tothan's sewing machine. She breathed weakly and replied, "I understand." A few hours later, around midnight, when God of Strength Tothan had shot down prey Nya Lam with the most intense volleys, he temporarily paused the torture. Checking the weather outside, he saw the air had cooled. Totan prepared to carry out the plan. As he raised his hand to open the spatial rift, he murmured, "Looks like Nyalum has completely surrendered to me." He pulled out an ATV and urgently said, "I must seize the present time and quickly return before the seawater floods the land." Tothan recalled my past life when many demons brought the obsession of rescue points that formed a wave of fierce zombie attacks. The incident caused countless civilians and soldiers to die. It also caused weapons to scatter, creating various armed forces. Passing through an area, Tothan witnessed gangs fiercely fighting with guns. One guy fired while grinning slyly, thinking he would reach the target area smoothly. But suddenly a few thugs aimed guns at the front of Tothan's vehicle. Their grim faces seemed to urge him to an early grave. They shouted, "Stop the car right in front of me!" Tothan sat in the car, his expression as cold as stone, replied, "Am I sick that you dare to stop the car and kidnap someone at this time?" Without another word, he slammed the accelerator, making the car speed forward. The gangsters were stunned, their faces pale sweat pouring. The man in front was frozen in place. Two henchmen panicked and ran for their lives. Tothan's car ran over them before they could react. They left immediately. After defeating the gangsters, not knowing heaven or earth, Tothan let them sleep peacefully on the spot, then continued his journey to the target area. Approaching the subway station, he recalled that in the past life this place collapsed due to cracks and zombie waves. Standing high above, Tothan murmured, "The number of dead underground must be in the tens of thousands." The zombies below were attracted by the engine noise. They immediately gathered. Tothan observed their glowing red eyes, thought to himself that those zombies were surely drawn here by the engine noise. He clicked his tongue regretfully. Unfortunately, not all demons have a brainstem in their heads. Opening each head would really be a waste of time. Tothan drove to the old university area where the atmosphere was as quiet as a graveyard. He murmured, "First, maybe I should check the situation here. Coming here, I remembered this was my first time returning to the technical university after graduation." In front of the building, Tothan stopped the car, stored it in the spatial rift, then quickly went inside. Just stopped in front of his door facing a chained dog. Its red eyes growled heavily. As he was about to step forward, a voice rang out, stopping him. Behind the dog was a long-haired gangster with two muscular henchmen. This guy sat cross-legged, arrogantly warning the young man, "You must show respect when entering our territory, and the first thing is, you have to hand over your backpack to me." Tothan played the weak role. He reached into the backpack, pretending to tremble, but actually pulled out a fried chicken leg with fish sauce from a dimensional space. "Stammering, can you help me? Please spare me. I have fried chicken leg with fish sauce here." In the apocalypse, when food and water are scarce, all three gangsters looked at the chicken leg with bright, astonished eyes. The leader gaped, "Chicken leg at this time? When did you really still have a chicken leg? Quickly throw it here. Throw the chicken leg here now." Seeing the gangsters lusting, Tothan smirked and tossed the chicken leg down in front of them and the two dogs. The bunch rushed in to grab it like wild animals, forgetting who was the boss and who was the underling, throwing elbows and choking with fake affection. "This is mine!" "Get out of the way!" When the long-haired guy was about to catch Tothan, he pulled the string tied on the chicken leg, pulling it back. The gangsters were speechless faces like clowns played a prank on. Tothan shook the chicken leg mockingly. "Really sorry, but you guys truly don't deserve to eat this chicken leg." Insulted, the gangsters went crazy, shouting, "Damn it, how dare you trick us! Beat the hell out of them!" One guy swung a stick like Sun Wukong. One growled like a gorilla. Another held a pipe like chopping wood. But before they could act, Tothan pulled a gun from dimensional space, stunning them all. The feeling of equality like standing before the Grim Reaper's blade. 3 gunshots rang out, sending all 3 to the afterlife. Tothan stepped forward, muttering, "I really remember in my past life there weren't so many fools. Could it be my reminder caused more people to survive and this really happened?" He left 3 bodies with bullet holes in their foreheads. Smoke still swirling, then he proceeded to the biological laboratory about snakes. Standing at the door, Tothan broke the lock into pieces. Judging by appearances, it seemed no one had been here recently. Entering, a strong, foul stench hit his nose. He observed many dead snakes, and the air was truly pungent. Suddenly, Tothan's gaze stopped at a glass cage. He smiled, "Found you." Inside was a snake with 4 horns on its head, biting the head of another snake. Its cold eyes looked at Tothan. He laughed. the future leader of the Water Snake Legion, King Golden Snake. Watching the snake digest its kin, Tathan said, "Ha, so this is how you survive." He recalled in his past life when this snake caused global chaos, eating countless people, even almost swallowing him whole. Tathan remained silent and continued, "When the floods come in a week, this snake will begin to mutate. Not sure how far it will evolve like its ancestors. If we don't fight back, Earth will face big trouble." He felt, "Why do I feel this snake has evolved a bit intellectually? Seems I need to be cautious with it." While musing about King Golden Snake, Tathan suddenly heard rapid footsteps outside the door. A group of strangers appeared holding weapons. Noticing Tathan's presence, they became wary. Tathan narrowed his eyes coldly. "Who are you?" The gangsters outside sneered, hiding behind the wall, and loudly threatened, "Come out! We know you're hiding inside there." Though fierce in words, they were sweating and fearful inside. Tathan inside replied coldly, "Now is a critical stage. I can't be disturbed by you." But before he finished, a shadow appeared outside the door, startling him. A silver-haired girl with agile moves dashed into the gangsters. Turns out they were not after Tathan, but her. The gangsters panicked, screaming, "Oh, you dirty bitch hiding here!" The leader shouted for the group to charge. But the silver-haired girl acted first with terrifying speed. She twisted one guy's neck, pinned another tightly between her thighs, then spun in mid-air to neatly take down the last one. Before they could raise their guns, she grabbed one by the neck and snarled, "You filthy bastard!" A crack sounded as his cervical spine broke. That guy collapsed. After dealing with the three, she was suddenly held at gunpoint by Tathan. He complimented good skills. Before Tathan could say more, she quickly knocked the gun aside. She bent down and jumped up to try to subdue him, but after several failed attempts to twist his neck, she realized Tathan's neck was as hard as steel. Fear mixed with confusion, she muttered, "Why can't I twist it?" Tathan stood motionless like a statue while she struggled to control him. Both fell into a compromising position. She panicked and shouted, "Wait, what are you doing?" Finally, Tathan restrained her and tied her up with an artistic red rope. Pointing his gun, he asked, "Who are you?" She was sweating profusely. Her soaked clothes still carried a determined look. "I am the captain of the Tiger Wolf Special Forces team. I advise you to behave properly and release me quickly." Hearing the name Tiger Wolf, Tathan slightly frowned. Tiger Wolf. "Do you know anyone named Lu Xiaofeng?" Bok Tuong asked in surprise. "You know Lu Xiaofeng?" Tathan recalled having subdued Lu Xiaofeng before. He seriously responded, I saved his life." Then he listened as Bok Tuong recounted. Tathan opened his backpack to take out ingredients to make black pepper seared beef, nodding approvingly. "Now I understand." He stabbed a fork into a rare piece of beef. He continued, "Another group of deserters took over the school as their base. They held students hostage to threaten us and stole weapons from your group." Bok Tuong continued about Lu Xiaofeng. "That's right. After the zombie wave attacked the rescue point, Lu Xiaofeng led everyone to leave first. But he didn't expect deserters from the prison to infiltrate among the civilians." Tathan chewed hungrily on the seared beef while glancing at Bok Tuong and slowly said, So I can't put all the blame on you." Bok Tuong, annoyed at the suggestive way Tathan had her tied up, immediately defended herself. "As long as I have weapons in hand, there is nothing to fear from these people." But the sweat pouring down her forehead wasn't just from the intricate binding, but also from seeing Tathan leisurely eating steak right in front of her. Trying to control herself, she gritted her teeth. "How much longer do you plan to keep me tied up? Untie me!" Tathan looked at Bok Tuong with a sly smile, like someone holding the upper hand, asking with a hint of teasing. "Then you have to promise me you won't clamp your legs around my head like you just did." Bok Tuong swallowed hard, looking at the fragrant steak, and replied, "Then I also want to eat steak." Tathan examined her body, tightly bound by the red rope, seemingly impossible to untie. But with a few quick moves, he swiftly untangled her and set Bok Tuong free. From his space, Tathan pulled out a scoped rifle and handed it to Bok Tuong, reminding her, "I have my own business, so I can't help you much. I can only provide you with a bit of firepower." Then he walked away coldly, saying goodbye. "Move fast. Don't bother me." Tathan didn't like interfering in others' affairs. If the other side didn't provoke him, he wouldn't take the initiative either. His main goal was to wait a week after the Great Flood arrived for the Golden King snake to develop, then kill it to harvest its core. Bok Tuong took the gun silently, realizing she recognized Than wasn't entirely a bad guy. And if she had his help, her plan would be much easier to succeed. She called after him, "I plan to attack the upper hideout of their group. Only by doing this can I retrieve the stolen items. That way I can help those trapped survive in the current environment." Watching Than's back, Bok Thuong hesitated with hope, then continued. "So this might be the only time we meet." Before she could finish, Than interrupted, "Supplies." As if he'd thought of something, he turned to his backpack while walking and said, "Wait a moment," like a magician. Than pulled out a huge, long sniper rifle from his backpack, leaving Bok Thuong speechless and wide-eyed. While pulling out this gun, he explained, "Lu Xiaofeng means friendship to me. This time I'm going with you."